CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Hello, good morning. It is 6 o'clock on Friday, May 29th. A bit blustery out there. Got some clouds, got some wind. It's a little chilly, at least because of the wind. But we will clear up into the day and we'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. Right now, the news begins. We say good morning to Lisa Best.
Winds, it looks like BC hydro outages have been kept at bay for the time being across southern and northern Vancouver Island. We'll keep you posted if anything changes. 43-year-old man arrested in mid-May in connection with a drug raid on the West Shore. Police searching two Langford homes on May 15th, seizing drugs, $10,000, replica guns, and other weapons. It was a culmination of a 3-month-long RCMP drug trafficking investigation. Island Health has issued a toxic drug warning for the Nanaimo region. Drug poisoning overdose advisories issued when there's a spike in serious cases in certain areas. And at this point, I guess it's Nanaimo. Saanich police spent part of Wednesday night not on the golf course because a suspected stolen vehicle was playing through. The incident began on a report of a stolen vehicle from a residence in the 600 block of Jolly Place. Police found the car in the lot of the Cedar Hill Rec Center. While attempting to stop it, the driver decided to drive onto the golf course, Cedar Hill Golf Course, hitting a pair of police vehicles in the process. That set the stolen vehicle ablaze. Police contained the golf course and observed the fire from the fairway. A K9 team called in to locate the suspect in the nearby bushes. Saanich Fire called in to put out the flames. The driver remains in custody pending a court appearance. A man involved in a 2017 child pornography case has been brought back to this city, Victoria. William Tate had been extradited, Vic PD escorting him on a flight from the San Francisco area. The return follows investigation into his failure to report to the Vancouver Island Regional Correctional Center late last year to begin a 2-year less 1-day sentence for child pornography offenses. The warrant for his arrest was issued for escape from lawful custody. Vic PD investigators worked with U.S. authorities, including the FBI, to track him down. He's now been turned over to BC Corrections to serve his term. A decision from the Supreme Court of Canada not to hear a New Brunswick First Nations appeal has ripple effect across BC. In the Richmond land claims case, the High Court upheld the ruling in New Brunswick, where a lower court said Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land. That's the exact opposite of what a BC Supreme Court judge ruled in this province. Attorney General Nikki Sharma says she welcomes the decision.
I'll tell you that's a decision that we wanted the court to arrive at when it came to private property here in BC. We made arguments that said that Aboriginal title is suspended and then private property sits above that. And they found similar in their actual judgment. That's not going to be looked at the Supreme Court of Canada. So in my view, it gives us a path to appeal that upholds potentially our arguments in court.
The federal and BC governments, the City of Richmond and other parties are appealing the BC decision. Prime Minister Mark Carney's quote that a strong Canada can make America great again is getting plenty of attention on both sides of the border. The line was part of a broader speech he delivered before business leaders in New York City yesterday. CTV News chief political correspondent and CFAX host Vashi Kapellos explains some of the intention she's hearing is behind it.
That's a very distinct pitch, and my information behind the scenes is this is the first of that pitch being made many times by many ministers who are going to engage in a so-called charm offensive to try and relay the message that Canada is cooperative and not uncooperative, as the administration seems to view. The politics of it are interesting too, right? Because just a few months ago, our reliance or our interdependence economically on the United States was characterized by the Prime Minister as a weakness.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre had said the Prime Minister is flip-flopping on whether Canada's future should include a relationship and reliance on the U.S. Speaking of U.S., last night, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said an agreement that would end the war and force Iran to give up its highly enriched uranium would be a big win for the U.S.
Assuming that we're able to get to a final agreement here, we're reopening the Straits of Hormuz. We've already decimated their conventional military, and we're in a position where we could substantially set back their nuclear program, not just during the term of this president, but over the long term. That's a very, very good thing for the American people. So we're not there yet, but we're very close. We want to keep on working at it.
That is your news to 6:05. our CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking you about Aboriginal land title. Do you agree with the Supreme Court of Canada's decision to uphold a ruling that Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land? 94% right now saying yes on our website, CFAX1070.com. You can vote there. Also in the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 6:06.
Thanks, Lisa. Good morning. Welcome to Friday. We got there. It's the end of the week, although a little blustery, small chance of showers with some wind is what we're kind of getting into, but it should clear up into the rest of the day and into the weekend, and we'll get you that full forecast in just a moment. Right now, over to the sports. Lots going on the local scene to talk about. Victoria Shamrocks at the Q Center tonight to take on the Langley Thunder. The Shamrocks have won both of their first two games to start the season, so they'll try to take that momentum into the match tonight at the Q Center. And then on the soccer world, Pacific FC have found their new full-time head coach, and he's going to start in July. The team announced that former Canadian international midfielder Terry Dunfield will take over the duties in July. He's widely also known to soccer fans in Canada as an analyst and color commentator on TSN, but now he's going to be the Pacific FC coach. They are still winless this season and do play Ottawa tomorrow at home at Starlight Stadium. In hockey, over to the NHL, where the Montreal Canadiens will be facing elimination tonight, down 3-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Final. Canadiens defenseman Alexandre Carrier says his team is used to being counted out going into tonight's match.
As part of our team, I think we're a team that competes, younger group, that a fast-paced team. I think it's important that we keep that and we stay desperate.
The Canadiens took the series opener in convincing fashion, but have since been outshot 109-43 over three consecutive losses, including Wednesday's 4-0 home defeat that pushed Montreal to the brink. Okay, so that's hockey in the NBA Western Conference Final. It's going back to Oklahoma City for a deciding Game 7. San Antonio rolled to a 118-91 home victory over the Thunder in Game 6, and the winning team will play the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. The championship series will begin on Wednesday. In the world of baseball, American League East Division rivals meet tonight in Baltimore. Toronto Blue Jays won the opener in the 4-game series last night, and the Blue Jays can get back to the 500 mark with another win. That's your CFAX 1070 Sports 2608. Well, let's check CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. No crashes or accidents reported at this time. If you see anything, do text me at 71010. But so far, it's clear on the roads. For BC Ferries, 7 o'clock sailing. Room left there. No sailing waits. Vehicle deck space still available for 7 o'clock, Swartz Bay to Tsawwassen. And in the weather forecast, let's dive into this in a bit more detail. So yeah, like if you're getting out there this morning, depending on where you are, it's certainly there's cool wind blowing. It's technically 13 degrees at the Victoria International Airport, which seems warm, but this wind is really kind of cooling things off. There's chance of showers as well. And we'll see that all clear up around about noon, and then the second half of the day should be into a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 17 degrees, cooler by the water. But yeah, right now kind of a little unsettled feeling. Clear skies tonight, lows down to 9, and then tomorrow it's a mix of sun and cloud, highs of 17, cooler by the water. Sunday, mix of sun and cloud, highs of 19, but cooler by the water. And then we might get into some more rain into next week. There's a chance of showers arriving around about Tuesday night or Wednesday. Sort of in that stretch is where we see it get unsettled again. once we get a few days into June. Right now, I mentioned that it was 13 degrees at the airport. If you are at Oak Bay at the waterfront, it's 11 degrees. On the markets, the North American stock markets have not opened yet. That's later this hour, so let's take a look at how yesterday closed with Aaron Sousa.
Tech gains helped lift Canada's main stock index yesterday. Toronto's S&P TSX was up 105 points to 34,517. In New York, the Dow nudged higher by 24 points. The Nasdaq surged by 242. In Tokyo this morning, the Nikkei soared by 1,600 points. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong gained 176. Our dollar is trading at 72 and 43 cents U.S. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand will meet today with her Chinese counterpart. Wang Yi's visit is China's first to Canada in a decade. Trade and global security are expected to be front and center. Prime Minister Mark Carney is back in Ottawa. He was in New York City yesterday to pitch Canada as a prime investment spot. Carney also met reps from big-name firms, including JP Morgan Chase. And StatCan will drop first quarter GDP numbers today. Early signs show the economy rebounded after a slight dip late last year. Momentum stalled in March, due in part to rising energy prices amid the conflict in Iran. From the Canadian Press Business Desk, I'm Aaron Sousa.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the program. Welcome to Friday. Thanks so much for joining us and being here and making CFAX a part of your morning. I'm Ryan. Lisa's here. Hey, Lisa, how you doing?
I'm good, yeah. What's with the weather?
Well, it's...
I blame you.
Me? I just
felt like
I
me.
just play a meteorologist. I don't actually know what I'm doing here.
I play a doctor sometimes.
Yeah. No.
Don't do well at it.
You know what I think this is?
Yes.
This is just June taking a warning shot at us.
It is, right? It's a shot across the bow. It's not even here yet.
I know. June is coming. This weekend is the final couple of days of May, and then
The
June
weekend
1st.
looks good, actually.
Yeah, it does clear up a little bit. But this is typically what happens in June. You just get these unsettled, cool days. It's not even that it's not like it's pouring rain or anything. It's just
No,
kind of
but I had
blah.
the door hit me. The
Yeah,
car
it's
door
windy.
hit me, and I almost lost my hat in the way in. So you got to hang on to things.
Yeah. So that's
If
what
you've got recycling out, it's probably in your neighbor's yard.
Oh, yeah. I always enjoy the recycling scramble when the wind shows up. Also, May lulls us into a false sense of security because it's
Right.
so lovely and fairly mild. And then one of these happens. You're like, all right, I can't just leave the recycling out.
Flowers trying to hold on to their blooms.
Attended, yeah. Well, here on the morning show, we have so much to do today because we have yet another pair of Spam-A-Lot tickets to give away.
Right on.
Spam-A-Lot, this Tony Award-winning musical based on Monty Python's Holy Grail movie coming to the Royal Theatre in August. I think coming up a little later in the 7 o'clock hour today, we will give away another pair of tickets by having a listener perform for us some kind of Monty Python sketch.
Yes.
These have all been fantastic every day. I've been so amused by these. So get ready. If you haven't had a chance yet in the 7 o'clock hour, prepare yourself, rehearse your sketch, get ready.
Yesterday's was very creative. Not necessarily for radio, because we were trying to figure out what was going on, but it was the cappuccino skit?
Yes, the cappuccino skit where they mix it in their mouth and then spit it out, making
But
all the
there was a
gurgling
lot
noises.
of gurgling going on in the background. We're like,
It took me a minute. I will admit I didn't catch on right away, but that's my bad.
We both were there.
I was
In fact, all of us were going, what's happening?
was fully, though, impressed by the commitment.
I agree, 100%.
So good. And I hope somebody can top that today.
Very theatrical.
Now, the other thing we got going on, of course, is it's still the CFAX Summer of Rock. Here's what I mean. There's just so much happening on the show. The artist this week for the CFAX Summer of Rock has been Motley Crue, coming to Vancouver in July with tickets as well as Helijet flights with Rosedale on Robson Street hotel accommodations, all powered by the Sax Point Pub in Esquimalt. The park is also lovely. You can go to the park as well.
But the pub has beer, and it's good. So maybe go there instead.
Anyways, that's all still happening. And listen for the Motley Crue song.
Yeah.
Text the word rock. This is going to be...
What song are you going to play?
Well, I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, see, I was trying to get you there.
You almost did.
You're awake.
We're going to pick a winner, by the way, on Monday. So enter while you can.
Okay.
But there's still so much more of the CFAX
July
Summer of
12th. You
Rock.
got to be available July 12th.
Yeah, that's for the Motley
'Cause
Crue.
That's when the contest is, or the concert is.
But then we still got AC/DC. We got Guns N' Roses. We've got much more to come. So
That's right.
it's
Get
not
your
over.
T-shirt out. No, not by a long shot.
It's 6:15. let's get to the headlines with Lisa.
Something else that is definitely not over is the race for the BC Conservative Party leadership. Political watchers have been keeping a close watch on this. Now, electronic voting ends in about an hour and 45 minutes at 8 o'clock this morning, local time, giving the party time to tally the results, announce the new leaders starting tomorrow night at a big gala. The party was using the preferential ballot this time, where members are asked to rank their choices from first to fifth. 5 candidates looking to replace former leader John Rustad, who resigned. Stats Canada says economic growth stalled in the first quarter and real gross domestic product was slightly negative on an annualized basis. The agency mainly blames higher imports of gold and a weak month for Canada's resource extraction industries in March for dragging down recent economic activity. Real GDP has now declined for 2 consecutive quarters, meeting the definition of a technical recession, though the data paints a mixed picture of our economy. California is suing the DNA company 23andMe. That's the state accuses it of failing to protect consumer data from that massive cyber attack. A year ago, 23andMe filed for bankruptcy, and it's now called Chrome Holding Company. California Attorney General Rob Bonta says the company failed to put basic safeguards in place before they were hacked 3 years ago. He says criminals were able to steal the records of 7 million customers worldwide. Bonta says that includes the theft of raw genetic data. That's your news to 6:17.
So there's this podcast called Island Crime.
Very cool.
That covers murders and mysteries that take place on Vancouver Island.
Okay.
And they're dropping a new season today. What's the mystery they're diving into this time? Laura Palmer, who's behind the podcast, is joining us in just a few moments to unveil the new season. We'll do that right after traffic and weather. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season, big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. Designed for comfort, the South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. On the roads, no crashes or accidents right now. In fact, it's pretty much smooth sailing everywhere. All of our major routes are problem-free, volume-free. If you see otherwise, you can text me at 71010. For the BC Ferries, no sailing waits. And for the weather, a little unsettled this morning. It's breezy. It's maybe some showers. I haven't seen any myself, but there's a chance of scattered showers across the greater Victoria area for the morning hours. But it then clears up for the second half of the day. This will start to ease off a little bit. We will see some clearing skies, highs of 17 by the afternoon. Then tonight, clearing skies, still a bit breezy. That wind's not fully going away. Lows down to 9. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud. Highs of about 17 degrees, cooler by the water. Mix of sun and cloud for Sunday. Highs of 19, cooler by the water. Monday stays much the same, but we could see a chance of showers rolling back in for maybe sometime Tuesday, Wednesday. It looks like in the longer range forecast right now. Temperatures across the region, it's about 11 degrees for a lot of the core area. Victoria, Oak Bay, Saanich, kind of Colwood, Langford. Up on the peninsula, a little bit warmer. It's 13 degrees in North Saanich.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
All right, there's a really cool podcast that focuses on murder mysteries right here on Vancouver Island, and I love reaching out to the kind of host and creator of this thing whenever there's a new season. And, well, there's a new season of the true crime podcast known as Island Crime. Laura Palmer is the host and the one behind this, focusing on unsolved murders or missing person cases right here on Vancouver Island. Laura Palmer, great to talk to you again. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Good morning, and thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, we've been speaking for years, it seems, because you've got so many seasons of this, which always baffles me. And I have to mention this every time. Sometimes you might not think that Sleepy Vancouver Island would have enough murder mysteries that you could fill season after season of this podcast. But here we go again with another one.
Yeah, this is season 9, and I hear you. When I started doing this series, I had a number of people say, well, this is going to be a short series because surely there can't be that many cases. But I can tell you, I could do this work till I was 100 and I'd still probably only scratch the surface. There's so many stories, unsolved crimes, unsolved murders, and missing person cases. So unfortunately, lots of stories to tell.
And what is the latest season all about? It's dropping Friday, so this is going to be out this week. What's the focus of this one?
Well, this is a case that I can almost guarantee most of your listeners will never have heard of. I certainly had not heard of it until I got an email last year from a young woman who said, look, my great-great-grandparents were murdered just south of Nanaimo, and the case is unsolved. They were stabbed to death in their own home in June of 1959, and basically the case has been forgotten. And so, you know, when she told me the name of her great-great-grandparents, Andrew and Elizabeth Kostanek, I did a quick search online and came up with 0. So, like, nothing. And for me, that just seemed like a great challenge to try and take on a case where there was really so little out there. And so that's where I started. She, this young woman, Shauna, she herself had begun digging into this case out of curiosity and a feeling that, you know, her family had suffered this horrible injustice all those years ago. And with that kind of violence in a family, it does ripple down the generations. So even today, there are people alive who knew this couple, who, you know, were familiar with what happened back then and always wondered why it wasn't solved. So that's the case. It's my oldest case to date. It's 67 years old.
Wow. Okay. So, like a lot of the ones you've talked about, they might be historic, but we might be talking things like, you know, Michael Dunahee or whatever, like those kind of timescales. This is way past that. Well, what do we know? Give us the quick facts, because like you said, a lot of people might not have heard of this, being that it was almost 70 years ago. What are the quick facts we know so far?
The facts we know are Andrew and Elizabeth, as I said, were stabbed to death in their own home. Elizabeth was killed first. She was in the home alone. And then the killer waited in the home for somewhere between 6 to 10 hours for Curly, that's how everyone called Andrew at the time, for Curly to come home. And then he is stabbed to death. So, you know, 2 vicious, violent crimes back to back in their own home. And then unfortunately, they aren't found for a few days. And so the killer kind of has a bit of a head start before the police begin the investigation. At the time, it's thought to be a robbery gone wrong, but the family has long suspected that it was something closer to home. that perhaps there was a motivation within the family itself that could account for these killings. And so I explore that in the series as well.
Interesting. And who do you talk to in this case? Because being that it was so long ago, obviously you've had some of the family members, a few generations on reach out to you. But who else do you get to talk to in this series?
Well, I'm grateful that some of the people who remember Curly and Lizzie are still alive. And so I have spoken with people who knew them in life, as well as people who are helping me basically with information that is old, like old coroner's inquest reports, old police files, and some of the old psychiatric reports from back then. And so I have retired police, retired coroners, people who can kind of shed light on some of these old documents and help me to interpret them. Now, that said, the full police report, and this may surprise you, is still not available. We have an access to information request in and a complaint around that, because 67 years on, the police are still holding on to the details of this file. So that's a conversation that we have in the series as well. Like, really, after almost 7 decades, should there still be privacy and secrecy around the investigation? So that's something I get into as well.
So the first episode of The Dead File, that's the name of the season, right?
That's the name of the season because that's what's actually stamped right on the redacted file that we get from the police. They call it a dead file. Huh. And no further work is to be done on this case. So it's not closed exactly because it's never been officially solved, but they call it a dead file.
So it's Island Crime. That's the podcast. This season is called The Dead File. First episode out this week, and then it's going to carry on for 8 weeks with new episodes every Friday. And I gather all of the podcast services you would like to find your podcast. And there you go. A cold case, a double murder from right here on Vancouver Island near Nanaimo almost 70 years ago, still unsolved. Learn about it in this season. Much appreciated. I always appreciate you talking to us. Anything else we should know about this?
Yeah, I think there will be some people listening who think 67 years, why should we still care? But I can tell you, there are still people alive who remember this case, who care about this case. And the community of South Wellington where this happened, it is still talked about to this day.
Laura Palmer, host of Island Crime. Always love talking to you. Hopefully we'll do it again soon. And good luck with the season.
Thanks so much. You take care.
We'll take a break. 6:30 News with Lisa next.
An iHeartRadio experience. Jelly Roll. Live in Quebec City at Festival d'été de Québec. Presented by Bell in collaboration with Coors Light. You could win VIP tickets for 2 for July 19th with flights, hotel, and $1,000 cash. I'm wide awake and I'm dreaming. Download iHeartRadio. Listen to CFAX 1070 for 10 minutes and enter to win. Jelly Roll at FEQ. Every day you listen is another chance to win. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is 6:30 on this Friday, May 29th. It's a bit unsettled this morning. Small chance of showers. We got some wind and cloud. Expecting it to clear by later today, and a full forecast is coming your way. Right now, the news begins. Here is Lisa Best.
Thanks, Ryan, and good morning. Sydney councillors say they're encouraged with the first round of consultation about a new town hall. The existing structure was built back in 1964, and the maintenance has become costly to keep up. Residents have low interest in the idea of renting, but they want to minimize costs and limit borrowing. They don't want to see condos as part of the new structure and are open to a new location or staying put. Mayor Cliff McNeil-Smith says he's pleased with the weigh-in from the community so far.
I think this was an excellent first engagement for the community, combining open houses, combining the survey, receiving correspondence. So I think we're off to a good start in the community engagement and the information that we're providing the community. I think the community understands this process is going to take a couple of years to work its way through in the options, and we certainly appreciate the level of input we have at this stage to consider as we go to our next steps.
All that input from residents will be used to assist council in identifying which options warrant further exploration before a draft concept for a future town hall is put forward. It'll be developed and shared with the community for consideration, but no decisions have been made just yet. The Supreme Court of Canada upholding a decision that Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land. It refused to hear First Nations appeals against the decision in New Brunswick. Attorney General Nikki Sharma here in BC says that bodes well for the province's appeal concerning lands in Richmond, BC.
The arguments that we made are essentially the ones that court found, and the fact that the Supreme Court of Canada decided to leave that case intact, so the finding that basically upheld private property rights. I think that bodes well for the arguments that we're making at this level of court on appeal, that we will be making on appeal and that we made in the trial case.
In the New Brunswick decision, an appeal court judge says a declaration of Aboriginal title over privately owned lands would sound like the death knell of reconciliation with the interests of non-Aboriginal Canadians. Ottawa's fighter jet review could open the door for Canada to build more warplanes or build warplanes for Ukraine. Swedish defense company Saab says Canada could become a production and export site for Gripen fighter jets if the federal government chooses its aircraft over the U.S.-made F-35. Saab executives Andres Karp says some Canadian-built Gripens could ultimately be delivered to Ukraine under a European support program.
The drone war, which is terrible, that is in this stage of the war. The fighters should, if Ukraine had more modern fighters, I think the war could have looked differently right now. But it's also about deterrence, to have a threshold. A country should have a threshold so no one even dares to start thinking about invading.
The comments come days after Ottawa announced negotiations with Saab to purchase globalized surveillance aircraft. Health Minister Marjorie Michel is defending the decision to restrict travel from 3 African countries. This after the World Health Organization says it recommends against any measures. Michel said people are very scared after the COVID pandemic, and the FIFA World Cup justifies travel restrictions over Ebola.
Is it perfect? Certainly not. But we are taking the measures with the tools we have, because we know we need to protect the population, and we need to give people, even Congolese people or Canadian people, the comfort that we are doing all we can to contain this virus if ever it has to cross the border.
Officials have announced a mandatory self-isolation period of 21 days for anyone who's traveled to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, and South Sudan. The measure takes effect tomorrow under the Quarantine Act and will last until August 29th. And the U.S. has a new spelling champion, and every year this rolls around, and every year Ryan and I are completely humbled by it. 14-year-old Shrey Pakra from Rancho Cucamonga, California, outlasted the entire field of the Scripps National Spelling Bee. After 18 rounds, the last 2 spellers, both young teens, went to the spell-off, each spelling as many words as they could in just 90 seconds. The final 2 were Pakra from California and Ishan Gupta from New Jersey.
Just listen to the speed with which this California native rifled through these words.
Utakawa.
P-O-H-U-T-U-K-A-W-A.
Shrey spelled a B record 32 words correctly in 90 seconds. And for Shrey, this was a bit of a comeback story. In 2024, he came in third place, but then last year, shockingly, did not make it out of his region to qualify for the National B.
Well, since the spell moves off so quickly, it's tough to figure out the winning word. But Scripps now says the official winning word of this year was something called bromocriptine.
It's even hard to pronounce, let alone spell.
Bromocriptine. I have no idea what it is, so now I'm going to look it up. But again, once again, humble. Do you want to take a stab at it?
Can you say it again?
Bromocriptine.
So bro, B-R-O.
Yes.
M.
Yes.
O.
Yes.
C. R-Y.
Oh, we're going sideways here.
Oh, so I'm already wrong.
Cryptine.
C-R-Y? It's not C-R-Y?
Try something else other than
K-R-Y?
It's a C-R-I.
I. See, I was already wrong. I failed.
But you were close.
If I was in the spelling bee, I'd be out.
Well, and that's just it. And these are 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
So we're duly humbled. That's your news to 6:36. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. Do you agree with the Supreme Court of Canada decision to uphold a ruling that Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land? 94% are saying yes right now on our website. You can vote there, CFAX1070.com. Also on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your news time, 6:38.
Thank you, Lisa. Some textures are just sending us the spelling, and they got it right.
Oh, yeah? Well,
Yep.
it is pretty much the same as it said, which is helpful.
Yeah.
You said Y, but it was an I. But other than that, you had it.
I was close.
It's bromocriptine.
And this texter also tells us what it is.
Oh, well, go be smart. Be
At
smart.
7:10:10,
Okay.
texter who spelled it correctly says it's a Parkinson's drug, and they clarify that they work in neurology.
Oh, okay.
And they also specify they didn't Google it either.
Yeah, I did. My bad. Well,
but
I don't work in that department, so
No.
what is this?
But well done on the spelling. If you didn't Google it, I'll take you on the honor system. You win the CFAX spelling bee, which I guess isn't a thing, but maybe it is now.
So it's bromocriptine,
Yeah.
and apparently it works by mimicking dopamine in the brain, inhibiting the release of certain hormones. So I can understand why it's used to fight certain illnesses. But I didn't know the word, and I didn't know what it meant. So thank you for being so smart and
Love it.
sharing.
And thanks to the 14-year-old winners of
Right?
spelling bees who can spell better
It's
than us.
crazy. They must sit in their bedrooms at night and just pore over the dictionary.
Hey, why not?
Well, it
gets you the
is.
spelling bee.
Hey, smart is sexy.
Yeah. I guess it's 6:39. And time for the sports. I also can't play these sports either, so I got no spelling bee. I can't play the sports.
You can run a half marathon.
There you go.
though.
That's my thing.
Right?
Running all by myself is my skill. What's going on in sports? Well, lots of local stuff going on. So the Victoria Shamrocks are playing at the Q Center tonight, taking on the Langley Thunder. The Shamrocks have won both of their first two games to start the season. And I had a texter here at 7:10:10, speaking of the Shamrocks, say this. Hey, Ryan, could you please mention that the junior Shamrocks have some home games this weekend, too? The Tier 1 Junior B Rocks are putting their 9-0 record on the line tomorrow. Undefeated. That's amazing. 12:30 they're playing against the Port Coquitlam Saints. And then there's the Junior A Boys taking on the New Westminster Salmon Bellies. 3:30, both of those games at the Q Center. So that's tomorrow. And then the Senior Shamrocks tonight. Thank you for the text. Now over to soccer. Pacific FC. They got a new coach named. The coach will start in July. officially, but we know the name now. It's former Canadian international midfielder Terry Dunfield taking over coach duties. He's widely known as well to soccer fans as an analyst and color commentator on TSN. So Pacific FC, they got to wait till July for their new coach, though, but that's who it is. They are playing this weekend. Tomorrow, Starlight Stadium, they take on Ottawa, and Pacific FC are still winless this season. After 9 games, I think it's 9 games. Let's see if they can maybe turn that around tomorrow at home. In hockey, Carolina Hurricanes could reach the Stanley Cup Finals with a win over the Montreal Canadiens tonight. And the Canadiens, facing elimination, are trying to make a comeback, down 3-1 in the Eastern Conference Final. Canadiens winger Cole Caulfield says the belief in his team's locker room remains high, despite the long odds.
We've faced adversity a lot this year, and we've been resilient, so just kind of not getting too far ahead of ourselves and just doing what we can and controlling what we can, but just being ready for tomorrow and giving everything we got.
If the Canadiens can keep their season alive against the relentless Hurricanes, Game 6 would be back at the Bell Centre in Montreal on Sunday. And for the other playoff we're following, the NBA Western Conference Final is going back to Oklahoma City for a deciding Game 7. That's because San Antonio rolled to a 118-91 home victory over the Thunder in Game 6. It's going to have to go down to a Game 7 in that one to figure out who goes on to play the Knicks in the finals. And that's your sports to 642. Hey, CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Bluebird Cabs. If you need a cab, download the new Bluebird Cabs app at Bluebird Cabs Ltd. They're proudly local and Canadian-owned and run since 1946. On the roads, it is pretty clear out there. No crashes, no accidents, no volume delays from the West Shore into downtown Victoria as of yet. But if you see otherwise, let me know. Paving work will be back on again at Cook and Finlayson. I'll just mention that again, although I think for a lot of folks that's just becoming habit now. I don't know if this is the last week of it, but this was the last day on the schedule for that project. With any luck, they stick to it. Because we're supposed to go May 19th to the 29th. And this is May 29th.
You want an update? I went through yesterday.
How'd it look?
It looked really good.
Yeah?
I'm impressed by the crews. They had the leaf blowers out, cleaning up the new tarmac.
So it looked like it was in cleanup stage.
And it was in use at 3:30 yesterday, both ways. So the lines aren't down yet, so you have to watch where you're going. And there's lots of cones up still. But the pavement, the fresh asphalt is down on both sides.
Okay.
And there's still some towards Maplewood where it divides between Cook and Maplewood. There's still some groove pavement there you have to watch for, especially northbound. And that is all.
Right. But hey, so it sounds like they might be on track then, because today was supposed to be the final day of that.
It looks good.
Great.
Thank you.
That's a good eyewitness account. You can always text us at 710-10-2 if you see anything else out there you'd like us to pass on. For the weather forecast, mainly cloudy, chance of showers this morning, and you got that wind off the water. It's kind of an unsettled start to the day. Feels a little cooler than it is with that wind blowing. It's kind of a chilly one, but it should start to clear up later into the day. Mix of sun and cloud by afternoon and a high of 17, cooler by the water. Compared to the last couple of days, we're definitely cooling off a little bit here heading into the weekend, but we should maintain a mix of sun and cloud once we hit this afternoon. Kind of stays like that Saturday and Sunday and maybe into Monday, with temperatures in the high teens for the next little bit after we get through this little blip. And we could see a chance of showers in our long range forecast coming at us sometime Tuesday or Wednesday. On the markets, we've got the The first results of the day still coming at us, so we're waiting for that. While we wait, let's talk about how yesterday closed off. The markets yesterday saw gains in the tech sector that brought Canada's main stock index upwards. The S&P TSX closed up 105 to 34,517. In New York, the Dow Industrials up 24 points at the end of yesterday to 50,668. Canadian dollar has been trading overseas this morning at 72.43 cents US, which is basically the same as yesterday. It's almost virtually unchanged. I think it was up like 0.1%. And then the other thing that's out today, Statistics Canada just this hour dropping that the country slipped into a technical recession in the first quarter. So we'll see how that plays out into the markets as things get going.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
It's 6:46. Let's get into the news now. What's happening, Lisa?
BC government is slated to provide an update today on the costs and economic benefits of the upcoming FIFA World Cup Games in Vancouver. I'll make sure we're all sitting down for that announcement. Cabinet Ministers Ravi Kahlon and Ann Kang scheduling a news conference in Vancouver where the game's revenue and contribution projects are expected to be updated. Vancouver, of course, hosting 7 games starting June 13th in the soccer tournament starting next month, running through January. The Parliamentary Budget Officer of Canada will spend more than $1 billion. It says Canada will spend more than $1 million combined, and that's with the 6 games in Toronto included. The BC government has estimated last June that hosting the Vancouver Games would cost between $532 million and $624 million, but now we're not sure where that price tag is going to go. It's sort of the way FIFA tickets are going as well. Pretty expensive. Souvenirs from Stephen Colbert's hosting appearances on 2 only in Monroe public access shows are available at auction. Colbert hosted the show in July 2015 and again on May 22nd this year, the night after the Late Show on CBS ended. Bidding on the show's official eBay stores runs through Monday. Colbert's final script is up to at least $1,150 now U.S. A signed coffee mug is going to set you back $570 U.S. at this point. And Prime Minister Mark Carney is set to meet with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi today in Ottawa. Wang is also expected to meet with the Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand as part of his 3-day trip to Canada. A statement from Anand's office last week says the two are expected to discuss the recently updated China-Canada Strategic Partnership, Trade, Investment, and Global Security. Carney said yesterday his visit to China earlier this year was important because the relationship between Canada and China was in need of a reset. That is your headline news to 6:48.
Oh, what's happening? What's this?
Rocking on.
That sounds like Motley Crue.
My neck hurts from the headbanging.
I know, Lisa's really going at it in the other room. It's something, and it's your cue to call. Not call. Text. Cue to text. That's the one.
Call.
The word rock, R-O-C-K. It's the CFAX Summer of Rock, and here's this week's artist, Motley Crue.
Okay.
If you text us rock, we'll put your name into the hat, and on Monday we're drawing one of those names. We're going to call somebody and present them with tickets to this show in July. We're going to send you on a Hella Jet. We're going to put you up in the Rosedale on Robson Suite Hotel. And
With a friend.
With a friend. And it's all powered by the Sax Point Pub in Esquimalt.
Developing political story, a big doozy.
Vashi Capellos.
What started as a dull day is anything but.
The top newsmakers.
Your go-to political debrief. Daily.
What is really going on?
The breaking news.
Just moments ago.
And the entertaining analysis and debate to follow.
I don't think you can sugarcoat it. It's an issue.
It's not true, guys. Yeah.
Vashi Capellos.
There is a greater plan here.
Vashi Capellos. Weekdays 9 a.m. to 11.
Bigger picture politically, which is
on CFAX 1070.
CFAX 1070, traffic and weather. By the way, the whole morning show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Happy is deals and rewards in one app. Earn Scene Plus points faster by downloading the Thrifty Foods app and linking your Scene Plus card for personalized offers just for you. For the traffic and weather, the morning has started off fairly typically on the roads. There's no crashes, no accidents. Lighter than usual volume delays out of the West Shore, but hey, it's Friday. That happens often on a Friday. And for the weather forecast, that's where things are a bit mixed. We got a unsettled start to the day. It's blustery, feeling a little cool in that wind if you're by the Juan de Fuca Strait. Chance of showers still with us. I haven't seen much, at least where I am, as far as rain, but I don't know, maybe we're seeing some sprinkles here and there. At least that's a chance we might be seeing that through these morning hours. It starts to clear up later into the afternoon, and the rest of the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, a mix of sun and cloud with temperatures into the high teens. So that's what's coming. But yeah, we just got to get through this kind of unsettled morning. Temperatures right now around the region in, let's go to Brentwood Bay in North Saanich, where it's 13 degrees right now. In Colwood along the water, it's 10 degrees.
The best way to start an island morning. Ryan and Lisa on CFAX 1070.
Now, the weather is picking up tomorrow just in time for Ocean Week Victoria, which kicks off tomorrow. More than 40 events planned through 10 days, from nature walks and science talks to pub trivia and beach cleanups. What even is this all about? Let's find out more with Emily Armstrong from the Planning Committee. She's also the Education Program Manager for something called Sequaria Ocean Education. Emily, hello, how are you?
Hi, Ryan. I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, this is exciting.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm excited but curious about Ocean Week Victoria. What is this?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ocean Week Victoria, it's an awesome time to get involved. It's a collaboration between local community organizations. So businesses, scientists, storytellers, artists, First Nations, government, youth, elders, lots of different groups that are coming together to celebrate the ocean. And it's a really great opportunity to learn, discover, and connect for the ocean. So essentially, we're coming together for a 10-day celebration of events designed just to include everyone, improve science literacy, and discuss ocean health and conservation.
Is this a new thing, or have we been doing this for a while?
Yeah, no, so we have been doing this for quite a few years. So World Ocean Day, which is June 8th, was proposed in 1992, actually, but then designated in 2008. So it's been around for a while, but Ocean Week Victoria itself is new since 2020. So We're a pretty new group, but we're very dedicated and excited to kind of continue on each year.
All right, so we're kind of doing the countdown. We got 10 days leading up to that World Ocean Day on June 8th. Talk us through some of what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's tons of events happening this year. There's nearly 40 volunteer-led events. So it's all led by local organizations and community members that are looking to spread the word. So we've got tons that are designed to be open to anyone interested in participating. I encourage everyone to check out our website at oceanweekvictoria.ca. It's where you'll find a list of all of our great events, including lots of different paddleboarding events. We have trivia night hosted at Carrie's Chrissy Carriage House Pub this year. We've got How to Train Your Glider Adventures with Underwater Robots, which sounds pretty cool to me this year. So it's just a chat about how scientists program, pilot, and troubleshoot robots to track marine heat waves, map eddies, monitor the health of BC's coastal waters, things like that. We have an Ocean Opportunities Fair happening on June 3rd this year at Tillicum Center. So if anyone's interested in checking out a career in the ocean field, looking at how to volunteer, that's a great way to talk with local conservation experts and groups in the community. Tons of different things. We have some diving opportunities if you're a local diver, snorkeler, tons of different ocean festivals. Starting tomorrow, we have the Kickoff Festival at Gorge Park, the Gorge/Tacular Ocean Festival. We have tons of different activities going on. We'll have some marine touch tanks, a live artist presentation, live music, and tons of local experts there to chat with everyone. And then another big kicker is always the Fisherman's Wharf Festival, which this year is happening on May 31st at Fisherman's Wharf. tons of activities to get involved in. So local experts will have some diving presentations down on the docks and face painting, lots to get involved with there.
That's cool. And it sounds like you'll find this all over the place, events happening everywhere. Maybe you'll stumble into them, or if you want, where again can you find that full list?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find the full list at oceanweekvictoria.ca. We're also very active on Facebook at Ocean Week Victoria and Instagram at Ocean Week Victoria. So we'll be posting live updates and highlights throughout the week on those. But to get the full list, head on over to our website.
That's cool. Okay, so Ocean Week Victoria. It's kicking off tomorrow. Lots of stuff going on for 10 full days. Check it out. Emily Armstrong, Education Program Manager and Division Coordinator at Sequoia Ocean Education. Also on the planning committee for all of this. Thanks for walking us through everything, and good luck with it.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
All right, 7 o'clock news coming up next on CFAX 1070.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeartRadio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 7 o'clock on this Friday, May 29th. Texter at 71010 says, "What's up with this wind? I didn't expect it. I was up last night listening to everybody's recycling run down the street. What a mess." It's that kind of morning. It's been a blustery, windy start to the day.
Nasty.
It does start to clear up a little later into the afternoon. We'll get you the full forecast in a moment. Right now, the news begins, and here's Lisa Best.
Thank you. Talking money, Stats Canada says our economic growth stalled in the first quarter, leading to a second consecutive decline in real gross domestic product.
2 straight quarters of economic declines meet some definitions of a technical recession, but the StatCan report paints a mixed picture. Over the past 6 months, we saw economic contractions in October and March, which weighed on the fourth quarter of 2025 and first quarter of 2026. When you annualize the quarterly GDP figures, as economists typically do, it shows back-to-back contractions, a technical recession. Bay Street economists will no doubt be debating whether Canada is truly in a recession as they assess the depth of the downturn, but BMO's chief economist says, no, not really. Michelle Zedekian, The Canadian Press.
Mark Carney's latest characterization of the Canada-U.S. relationship is getting a lot of attention. In a speech before the Economic Club of New York yesterday, he told the crowd of business leaders that Canada Strong will help make America great again. CTV's Graham Richardson was there.
Carney's speech was heavy on change in what he described as a new Canada.
That future should include a new partnership with Canada, a true partnership that reimagines cooperation in specific sectors that are deeply challenged by global competition.
A different story from the opposition leader accusing the Liberals in Kearney of flip-flopping.
Cannot seem to decide if integration with the U.S. is a strength or a weakness. He's argued passionately for both positions in the last 3 months alone.
Carney never mentioned Donald Trump by name during his speech, and so far the president hasn't issued any public reaction to it, but we'll keep a watch on Twitter. Swedish defense firm Saab says if Ottawa chooses to buy its Gripen E fighter jets, Canada could end up making some of the ones destined for Ukraine's Air Force. Saab Deputy CEO Andres Karps says that Canada could become a production and export site.
We have, as has been discussed, offered for Canada, for instance, should they choose Gripen, and they need or want a production in Canada, that could, of course, be also one site to deliver Gripen to Ukraine.
Canada has already committed to buying 16 F-35 jets, but the Carney government is still reviewing the broader fighter program. Health Minister Marjorie Michel is defending the decision to restrict travel from 3 African countries. This after the World Health Organization recommended against any measures. Michel says Canada, the U.S., and Mexico need to align measures due to the upcoming FIFA World Cup games.
People are traveling a lot during FIFA, and even if Canada still remains low risk, but we are taking all the precautionary measures.
Canada will pause some immigration and travel applications for 90 days and also require 21 days of self-isolation for recent travelers from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, and South Sudan. A new lawsuit against the genetic testing company 23andMe filed in California. The suit alleges the company didn't do enough to safeguard customers' private information during the data breach 3 years ago. Here's Stephanie Ramos.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta says hackers were able to operate inside the company's systems for 5 months, accessing data linked to nearly 7 million users. Court documents say in July of 2023, 23andMe detected more than 1 million login attempts to a single customer account in just one day. Investigators say that should have been a clear red flag of a cyber attack, but the company failed to act.
Here at home, the Supreme Court of Canada has upheld a ruling that Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land. It refused to hear a First Nations appeal against the decision in New Brunswick. Attorney General Nikki Sharma says it bodes well for the province's appeal concerning lands enrichment.
The arguments that we made are essentially the ones that court found, and the fact that the Supreme Court of Canada decided to leave that case intact, so the finding that basically upheld private property rights, I think that bodes well for the arguments that we're making at this level of court on appeal, that we will be making on appeal and that we made in the trial case.
The New Brunswick decision, the appeal court judge says the declaration of Aboriginal title over privately owned lands would be a death knell for reconciliation of the interests of non-Aboriginal Canadians. And a marquee celebration stateside intended to celebrate America's birthday in Washington, D.C., its 250th, faces controversy now as artists continue to remove themselves from the lineup. ABC's Sophie Flay has the latest names.
The Commodores, and now Martina McBride. Let freedom are among at least 4 musical acts pulling out of a concert series being held in the National Mall beginning next month. The concerts are being run by Freedom 250, a group launched by President Trump to organize the nation's birthday festivities. The group claims to be nonpartisan, but some artists say they were not aware Freedom 250 was founded by the president. Martina McBride saying, "I was presented with an opportunity to perform at a nonpartisan event, but that turned out to be misleading."
Martina McBride was one of the main headliners for the event. That's your news to 7:06. CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking if you agree with the Supreme Court of Canada decision to uphold a ruling that Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land. 94% are saying yes right now on our website. You can vote at CFAX1070.com, also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time, 7:07.
By the way, we are going to explore that very issue in a bit more detail with somebody at UBC who's a law expert in this kind of thing. So stand by for that in about 10 or so minutes. We've got a blustery start to the day in Victoria, everybody. January is giving us a shot across the bow. I think that's what this is. It's
for sure.
June's coming at us on Monday.
Not there yet, yeah.
And already June's like, hey, just a reminder, I'm coming for you, Victoria.
June's looking pretty good. Next week isn't bad.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
I'm always more than me right now.
Wary of June.
Sketchy.
Anyways, it's kind of blustery. There's a lot of wind blowing. It has been all night. We got, depending on where you are, I think it's stronger if you're near the Wandafuka Strait, like we are here. So who knows? Your experience may vary, but we'll let you know how the day will shape up in our full forecast in a moment. Right now, over to the sports. We'll start in hockey, where the Montreal Canadiens facing elimination tonight, down 3-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Final. Canadiens defenseman Alexandre Carrier says his team is used to being counted out.
As part of our team, I think we're a team that competes, younger group, that a fast-paced team. I think it's important that we keep that and we stay desperate.
The Canadiens took the series opener in convincing fashion, but have since been outshot 109-43 in 3 consecutive losses, including Wednesday's 4-0 home defeat that pushed Montreal to the brink and featured the crowd chanting, "Just shoot the puck." Anyways, let's get on to some local stuff where the Victoria Shamrocks at the Q Centre tonight taking on the Langley Thunder. The Shamrocks early in their season, they've won their first 2 games. Let's see if they can make it 3 tonight at the Q Centre in Colwood against Langley. Also, texters letting me know that the Junior Shamrocks with a couple big games this weekend. The Tier 1 Junior B Rocks put their 9-0 record on the line tomorrow. 12:30 against the Port Coquitlam Saints. The Junior A boys taking on the New Westminster Salmon Bellies. 3:30. Both games tomorrow at the Q Centre. And Pacific FC, big news for them. They've got their new head coach. He's not going to be starting work until July, but he's announced, the team says, that it's former Canadian international midfielder Terry Dunfield, also known as an analyst and color commentator on TSN. Pacific FC, still awaiting that coach to arrive to start in July, will be playing tomorrow. They have Ottawa in town at Starlight Stadium. And for basketball, the NBA's Western Conference Final will have to go to a Game 7 back in Oklahoma City. San Antonio managed to keep things alive with a 118-91 win over the Thunder in Game 6 last night. That's your sports to 7:10. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. On the roads, no crashes, accidents. The paving work continues on Cook Street on either side of Finlayson. But as Lisa mentioned, she went down there and it does look like it's almost done. This is the last scheduled day of that work. Hopefully we get through it after that. For the BC Ferries, no sailing waits. 8 o'clock sailing coming up with lots of room left for vehicles. And for the weather forecast, I was mentioning that I'm always wary of June. And texter at 71010 says, Ryan is always wary of June. Maybe that is the real meaning of June, you wary. I see what you did there, texter. Well done. Now, June starts on Monday, but already
That's actually very witty.
I quite enjoyed that text. That was well done.
Well played.
It's clearing up after this, though. We got this wind, this chance of scattered showers this morning.
General ickiness.
Just feels a lot colder than it is. I mean, it's technically 13 degrees out there, but if you're by the Wandafuka Strait, certainly feeling colder with that wind hitting you. And it's been blowing recycling bins around the region. We've heard from some texters. It's quite strong. Clears up as we get into the day. We will get to a mix of sun and cloud, highs of about 17 today. Cooler if you're by the water. It's going to stay kind of cool there. Then for the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, mix of sun and cloud, highs into the high teens. We might see showers come back into the midweek next week, but we should be kind of through this unsettled stuff for a few days after today. Over to the markets, where the S&P TSX is up by 34 points so far to 34,552. The Dow in New York is up 193 to 50,862. The NASDAQ is up 149 to 27,067. So kind of gains across the board there. Canadian dollar, though, down just a little bit to 72.4 cents US, which is basically where it was yesterday. It's just down a fraction of a cent.
Let's get started. Start your day informed and entertained. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Yeah, heads up, we will be exploring that news story that is in New Brunswick, but is definitely bringing up questions here. The Supreme Court of Canada refusing to hear an appeal in a New Brunswick Aboriginal title case, which sounds a lot like this Richmond case that we've got going on here, the Cowichan Tribes case. The decision is leaving in place a ruling that Aboriginal title cannot be declared over privately owned land. Now, BC officials are saying that this case here going on at the Supreme Court involving a New Brunswick case does strengthen their position in the Cowichan Tribes appeal currently before the courts. That's the BC government take on this.
Right.
But we've got a UBC professor joining us in just a moment to kind of give us his take on this. What does this mean? What should we be reading into this, or should we not be reading into this? We're going to get into that.
And to unpack it, too.
Yeah, let's do some unpacking. That's coming up in just a few moments. But I do want to give you a heads up that our Spam-A-Lot contest...
Yes.
Spam-A-Lot, based on Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the Broadway musical coming to Victoria in August at the Royal Theatre. Our last pair of tickets to give away today is going to be this hour. So if you want to get yourself a little sketch together, can you perform just any amount of a Monty Python sketch for us? We're going to get you to call us later this hour. So I'm just putting that out there.
Okay.
It's the 7 o'clock hour.
And we played a Motley Crue song.
So yeah, we did, by the way.
Right.
So hopefully you've texted us rock.
If you text the word rock, some people are having fun with it. If you don't text the word rock, you won't be entered. You'll get a kickback saying that you're entered in the contest. If you want to win the contest, you got to play along.
I've got another Rick here.
Exactly. You're not going to win on Rick.
You're just trolling me now, everybody.
Pretty much. And okay, we want you to win this. And if you don't want to, that's fine too.
At 7:15, the headlines with Lisa.
Well, Canadian Air Force flyover today at around 11:25, marking the change of command for the Canadian Fleet Pacific at CFB Esquimalt. The flypast scheduled during the parade that's expected to be underway at the same time. The CP-140 Aurora from 407 Squadron based in Comox will take part in the flyover alongside a CH-148 Cyclone helicopter from 443 Squadron in Patricia Bay. The aircrafts are expected to pass over the base at no lower than 500 feet above the highest obstacle along their route, but you will see and hopefully hear them over the route. And of course, weather is a possible consideration as well, so keep that in mind. Canada's federal wildfire forecast for 2026 shows this province is facing the highest and most sustained fire risk in the country, with risk building due to drought conditions and warmer weather. The federal government says Western Canada is seeing persistent and long-standing precipitation deficits, although some regions have received significant rain and snow in the last 6 months, possibly delaying the fire conditions. The forecast also calling for El Nino, so above normal temperatures across BC and almost other Canadian regions too. Between June and August, you're being asked to monitor your risk in your own region. BC Wildfire Service says there's only about 20 wildfires burning in the province and not a lot of starts in the past couple of days, because that could change as the weather gets warmer and drier. And do you consider yourself a social butterfly? Well, BCers apparently don't just embrace summer, they lead the country in having fun with it. New data from Fig Financial finds that 26% of BC residents socialize 2 to 3 times a week in the summer, a rate significantly higher than other provinces. And they keep pace year-round. 43% of us socialize at least once a week during winter months, making us the most socially active province in the country across both seasons. And that is your news to 7:16.
Thank you, Lisa. Traffic and weather coming up. Text us at 71010 if you see any problems, or even if you don't. Maybe things are wonderful today. You can let me know that too at 71010 as we take a look at how this commute is shaping up. We're also going to be reaching out to a UBC law assistant professor to unpack this Supreme Court of Canada ruling involving a New Brunswick case, which might have implications here in BC.
Thinking about home renos, but the cost is too high? Think again. Explore affordable DIY options from ProTech Exterior Products at beahomepro.com.
CFAX traffic and weather. The roads are clear right now. No crashes, no accidents, not a lot of volume out of the West Shore into the core area of Victoria, Saanich, and Esquimalt, Oak Bay, wherever you're going from the West Shore. Things are looking very clear right now, but you can text me if I'm wrong at 71010. No sailing waits at BC Ferries. And we have for the weather forecast a kind of a blustery, unsettled start to the day. There's a lot of wind that's been blowing overnight. We do have this chance of showers. I haven't seen too much, but we still technically have a chance of showers in the forecast for this morning. And highs will eventually hit 17 degrees, but it's going to stay cooler by the water. It's going to stay kind of breezy by the water today, but we will eventually clear up into some sunshine by later this afternoon. The mix of sun and cloud will then stick with us Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures into the high teens. And right now for the temperatures, like I said, cooler by the water is the thing we're going to expect. In Oak Bay right now along the water, we're sitting at 10 degrees. If you get away from the Wandafika Strait, it's a bit warmer. It's 13 degrees right now at the airport.
It's all here. News, weather, traffic, and community events. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
What does it mean for the Cowichan Tribes case here in BC involving Richmond, now that the Supreme Court of Canada has declined to hear an appeal of a New Brunswick case, which found Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land? We want to unpack this whole legal thing with a UBC law school assistant professor joining us right now. Scott Franks on the line to help us out. Sir, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Although, like a lot of folks, just wondering, this case here, what does this mean for us? So maybe we should start just with what it is. Have you been watching the New Brunswick case?
A little bit. I have read the case, yes.
Gotcha. Well, could you walk us through, maybe we should set the scene there. What is that case all about to start with?
So the Lost Equate Nation has a claim. It's an Aboriginal title claim. The New Brunswick Court of Appeal, well, first we start with the trial judge. The trial judge was asked to revise or consider the pleadings of the parties and whether Irving and other companies were proper parties to the pleading. One of the issues in title claims that include fee simple property lands is whether fee simple property owners should be included in the claim. That's part of Richmond's concern about the Cowichan case, if you remember, right?
Right. So this New Brunswick thing is very similar to what we have been seeing here.
Yeah, the underlying procedural issue, that concern about whether fee simple property owners should be added to a claim to Aboriginal title to be able to defend and make arguments in the court. That was what was going on in both cases.
Okay, so in this case, you said it was to do with Irving, the company?
Many other parties that own property and land around that area. It is one of the named, J.D. Irving Limited is one of the named parties in the case, yes.
Okay, so, but there was, I guess, land claims going on there involving some private property rights, and where did that go in the courts?
So the trial judge found that the private parties were not proper defendants of the proceeding, and so it was on that basis that that decision was then appealed to the New Brunswick Court of Appeal, and the New Brunswick Court of Appeal agreed with the lower court, but its reasoning as to why was very different. It reasoned that private parties are not properties to Aboriginal title claims because Aboriginal title claims cannot be made on fee simple lands.
Okay, so the New Brunswick Court of Appeal said that, and then that got taken to the Supreme Court of Canada, and they declined to hear it. What does that mean?
Yeah, so a leave to appeal application is something that a party can take when they're not happy with the Court of Appeal decision. The Crown, the government can do it, private parties can do it. The First Nation in this case is the one that did it. They sought leave to appeal at the Supreme Court of Canada, and the Supreme Court of Canada dismissed the leave to appeal application. So a dismissal or an allowal of a leave to appeal application is not a decision on the merits of the lower court. It simply is a panel of justices, 3, determining that the Supreme Court of Canada will not at this time hear that legal issue.
But why? Is it because they think there's no issue here? Is it in any way them saying we don't think there's any argument here, or we agree with that lower courts, so it's not even worth it? Is that what they're saying, or no?
It might seem, if you read the test for leave to appeal applications, it's whether the issue is of public importance. A person might kind of reasonably conclude that if the court says, oh, we don't need to hear this, that the case isn't of public importance. I think that's kind of a very technical reading of the statute that the Supreme Court of Canada relies on. In reality, there are a lot of reasons why the court might not allow an appeal. Usually it relates to the record. So in the Wolastoqey case, the record is predominantly about a procedural issue, whether to add these parties to the appeal. The Cowichan case is actually a lower court decision on the merits. So the Supreme Court of Canada might be aware, it's likely they are all aware, that the Cowichan case is very likely going to be appealed, and the decision of the British Columbia Court of Appeal is going to come out. That's a much better record for the court to consider the issues of Aboriginal title and fee simple property, because it'll have the benefit of a full trial record in the Cowichan case.
Oh, interesting. So the two are kind of they're not totally separate. The Supreme Court is probably aware of both and might be saying, look, we're not going to look at the New Brunswick one right now because we're going to deal with this same issue with the BC one, so we're just going to wait for that. Am I interpreting that as a possibility?
Yeah, it's absolutely possible. The Cowichan tribes sought leave to intervene in the leave to appeal application of the Wolastoqey Nation in the New Brunswick case, and they were going to argue, based on what their legal counsel has said in public reporting, they were going to argue that the court should not hear the leave to appeal in the Wolastoqey case. And I think the thinking behind that is that the court has benefited from a fuller record that's on the merits in the Cowichan case. And this isn't unusual. In the mid-90s, the Supreme Court of Canada had the benefit of a bunch of cases coming from BC. They had Vanderpeet, Gladstone, NTC Smokehouse, Delgamuuk, and then they had a case from Quebec called Adams-Côté and a case from Ontario called Pimagouan. And those cases all came to the court in about 1994, 1995, and they made their decisions on them in 1996 and 1997. That moment allowed the court to kind of navigate a bunch of different fact patterns and case records and make a determination and come up with a framework for the Aboriginal rights test that we still use today. And so we're in a moment that's similar to that. Gazala has had a leave to appeal application allowed, so the court will be hearing the appeal in Gazala, which, as your listeners know, is an important case in BC, which is about the Interpretation Act and the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples Act.
Well, just before we run out of time, BC officials here have reacted to this latest news out of the Supreme Court of Canada that they have refused to hear this appeal in the New Brunswick Aboriginal title case. Some BC officials have said this outcome strengthens their position. Is that reading too much into it, given what you've just told me, that this might not necessarily be the Supreme Court agreeing with that? It's more that they're just waiting on the BC case. So do you think that's... what do you think about that BC reaction?
My reading of it would not be theirs. I do think that it's an overstatement. If you look at what Canada is saying about it, they're a lot more guarded in suggesting that they can rely, as the Supreme Court of Canada endorsing the New Brunswick Court of Appeal. I would say it's a bit of an overstatement.
Okay.
That's not what the Supreme Court of Canada did.
That really helps me understand the situation a lot better. Because, at first blush, you might think that. I think a lot of folks might leap to that conclusion, but I think that helps us successfully muddy the waters, I guess, is what we've just done there.
Yeah, I'm really happy to help. Thank you for calling me.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Scott Franks, assistant professor at UBC's Peter A. Allard School of Law. That was great getting us through the issue, and we will continue to follow that, of course, because it is, like we said, not the end of the story. In a big story that has meant a lot here in BC and for Canada. We'll watch and see it. Right now, we'll take a break. 7:30 News coming up next.
An iHeartRadio experience. Jelly Roll. Live in Quebec City at Festival d'été de Québec. Presented by Bell in collaboration with Coors Light. You could win VIP tickets for two for July 19th with flights, hotel, and $1,000 cash. I'm wide awake and I'm dreaming. Download iHeartRadio. Listen to CFAX 1070 for 10 minutes and enter to win. Jelly Roll at FEQ. Every day you listen is another chance to win. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeartRadio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, 7:30 on Friday, May 29th. So we've got a unsettled, blustery, windy start to the day. A little cool out there. We'll get you a full forecast in a moment. But right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thank you, and good morning. 43-year-old man arrested mid-May in connection with a drug raid on the West Shore. RCMP searching 2 Langford homes on May 15th, seizing drugs, $10,000, replica guns, and other weapons. It was a culmination of a 3-month-long RCMP drug trafficking investigation. Island Health has issued a toxic drug warning for the Nanaimo area. Drug poisoning overdose advisories are issued when there's a spike in serious cases in certain areas. In this case, it is Nanaimo. Saanich police spent part of Wednesday night on the golf course. They didn't want that, but a suspect in a stolen vehicle was apparently playing through. The incident began on a report of a stolen vehicle from a home in the 600 block of Jolly Place. Police found the car parked in the lot at Cedar Hill Rec Center. While attempting to stop it, the driver instead drove onto the golf course, hitting a pair of police vehicles in the process. That set the stolen vehicle on fire. Police opted to contain the golf course and just observe the fire from the fairway. Of course, Saanich Fire coming in to douse the flames. The K-9 team located the suspect in the nearby bushes. The driver remains in custody pending a court appearance. A man involved in a 2017 child pornography case has been brought back to Victoria. William Tate has been extradited, Vic PD escorting him on a flight from the San Francisco region. The return follows an investigation into his failure to report to the Vancouver Island Regional Corrections Centre in late 2025 to begin serving a 2-year less 1-day sentence for child porn offences. Vic PD investigators worked with U.S. authorities, including the FBI, to track the suspect down. He's now been turned over to BC Corrections. A decision from the Supreme Court of Canada not to hear a New Brunswick First Nations appeal has ripple effects across BC in the Richmond land claims case. The High Court upheld the ruling in New Brunswick, where a lower court said Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land. Well, that's the exact opposite of what the BC Supreme Court judge ruled in this province. Attorney General Nikki Sharma says she welcomed the decision.
I'll tell you that's a decision that we wanted the court to arrive at when it came to private property here in BC. We made arguments that said that Aboriginal title is suspended and then private property sits above that. And they found similar in their actual judgment. That's not going to be looked at the Supreme Court of Canada. So in my view, it gives us a path to appeal that upholds potentially our arguments in court.
The federal and provincial government, the City of Richmond, other parties are appealing the BC decision. Prime Minister Mark Carney's vote that a strong Canada makes America great again is getting plenty of attention on both sides of the border. The line was part of a broader speech he delivered in New York City yesterday in front of business leaders. CTV News chief political correspondent and CFAX host Vashi Kapelos explained some of the intention she's hearing behind it.
That's a very distinct pitch, and my information behind the scenes is this is the first of that pitch being made many times by many ministers who are going to engage in a so-called charm offensive to try and relay the message that Canada is cooperative and not uncooperative, as the administration seems to view. The politics of it are interesting too, right? Because just a few months ago, our reliance or our interdependence economically on the United States was characterized by the Prime Minister as a weakness.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre had said that the Prime Minister is flip-flopping on whether Canada's future should include a relationship with and reliance on the U.S. And Health Minister Marjorie Michel is defending the decision to restrict travel from 3 African countries. This after the World Health Organization said it recommends against any such measures. Michel said people are very scared following the pandemic, and the FIFA World Cup justifies these travel restrictions.
Is it perfect? Certainly not. But we are taking the measures with the tools we have, because we know we need to protect the population. And we need to give people, even Congolese people or Canadian people, the comfort that we are doing all we can to contain this virus if ever it has to cross the border.
Officials also announcing a mandatory self-isolation period of 21 days for anyone who's traveled to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, or South Sudan. The measure takes effect tomorrow under the Quarantine Act and will continue and be in place until the end of August. And that's your news to 7:35. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question. Do you agree with the Supreme Court of Canada's decision to uphold a ruling that Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land? 94% right now saying yes. You can vote at CFAX1070.com. Also on the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa Best, your news time, 7:36.
Guess what, Lisa?
What?
We're only moments away from asking you to call us and perform a Monty Python sketch.
Okay.
Because we're giving away our last pair of tickets to Spam-A-Lot, the musical, coming to Victoria in August at the Royal Theatre.
Right on.
You got to give us a little bit of a Monty Python sketch when we ask you to call 250-386-1161. It's coming. Right now, over to the sports. We have a new coach for Pacific FC. It is announced that former Canadian international midfielder Terry Dunfield will take over the duties in July. He's widely known to Canadian soccer fans as an analyst and color commentator on TSN. Pacific FC, meanwhile, still winless this season, play Ottawa tomorrow at Starlight Stadium. Also locally, Victoria Shamrocks in action at the Q Centre tonight, taking on the Langley Thunder. The Shamrocks have won both their first two games to start off the season. They'll try to keep that momentum going as they hit the ice at home tonight. Montreal Canadiens will be facing elimination tonight, down 3-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Final. And Canadiens winger Cole Caulfield says the belief in his team's locker room remains high despite the long odds.
We've faced adversity a lot this year, and we've been resilient, so just kind of not getting too far ahead of ourselves and just doing what we can and controlling what we can, but just being ready for tomorrow and giving everything we got.
If the Canadiens can keep their season alive against the relentless Hurricanes tonight, there will be a Game 6 back at the Bell Centre in Montreal on Sunday. And in the NBA, it's going to a Game 7. San Antonio had a 118-91 win over the Oklahoma City Thunder last night in Game 6, which now forces a Game 7 before we know who goes on to play the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. That's your sports to 7:39. And here it is. I'm opening up the phone lines. 250-386-1161. That's 250-386-1161. That's the number to call right now. I'm going to randomly pick one of the phone lines that's ringing in a few minutes here. And if you're the one I pick, you got to do a little Monty Python sketch for me. Any amount will do. and try to keep it, safe for radio. But if you do that for me, we will give you our final pair of tickets to see Spam-A-Lot, the Tony Award-winning musical, coming to Victoria in August at the Royal Theatre. So that's coming up after traffic weather, which we'll do in just a moment. CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. By the way, the whole morning show is brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season, big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. They're designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. We've been pretty calm in traffic today. No crashes, no accidents, not a lot of volume out of the West Shore, which happens on a Friday. That's not unusual. If you see otherwise, text me at 71010. It should be the final day of paving work for Cook Street on the other side of Finlayson. That's been going on for the last couple of weeks. Today is the scheduled final day. We'll hopefully be through this as of next week. In the weather forecast, that's where things are really interesting, because we've been having this kind of windy, blustery night. We had texters talking about the recycling bins blowing down the road in some neighborhoods. I think this is mostly if you're kind of facing the Juan de Fuca Strait, so that part of the greater Victoria area, getting a lot of that wind overnight. We will see some of that blowing still today. We've got the small chance of showers this morning. We start to clear up a little later into the day. It's quite the overcast start to the day as well, but some sunshine coming at us later today. Highs of 17, cooler by the water. continues to clear into the weekend. A mix of sun and cloud for Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures into the high teens. That should stay with us on Monday before maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll see another change where it kind of clouds over. We get back to maybe some showers. We'll keep our eyes on that long-range forecast, but that's the next kind of change that looks like is coming at us. Right now for the temperatures, if you are in Saanich by the University of Victoria, 10 degrees is the temperature at the University of Victoria. That was that one. For the Greater Victoria, or I should say just Victoria International Airport, that's what I'm looking for. It's 13 degrees there. On the markets, things are starting to slip on the S&P TSX. It's down 15 points to 34,502. The Dow is up 216 to 50,885. The Nasdaq is up 23 to 26,940. And the Canadian dollar at 72.4 cents US, which is just down a fraction of a cent from yesterday's close.
Don't attempt your morning commute without us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
All right, it's time, Lisa, to do this.
I'm ready.
I'm curious.
Okay.
What do you think is coming at us? Because we've had the parrot sketch. We've had the I'm a Lumberjack song.
We had cappuccino.
We've had the cappuccino. That was good. So we've had some of the big ones. What are we going to get today?
Okay.
I'm curious.
Is it knee?
Is
it shrubbery?
Yeah, it could be. We don't know. So let's go to the phones.
Something Spamalot related.
Here's the random selection of the callers. Who is this on the line?
This is Riley.
Riley, you are the lucky one who gets to, perform for us. So as long as you perform for us, you're walking away with Spamalot tickets at the Royal Theatre. They're doing like a whole weekend run, right? It's the week before the Labor Day long weekend. That's when it's happening. And if you want to go, got a couple of tickets for you, but you got to do something for us. And you know what you got to do, right?
I absolutely do.
Are you ready? Are you feling psyched and ready to go?
I think so.
Got the assignment.
Yeah, ready. Yeah.
Well, then maybe we should just let you go then. Here we go. I'll count you down in 3, 2, and 1.
Burn her! She's a witch. She's not a witch. Well, how do you know she's a witch? She looks like one. She turned me into a newt. A newt? I got better. The witch scene. Such a good scene.
That is so good. That's from the movie. That's from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, right?
Of course.
That's the one that they took the source material from for this musical. So I'm definitely giving you one of these. Oh, Riley, you really
have you ever seen Spamalot?
No.
Oh, it's time then.
Yeah, I've seen all the Monty Python shows. Love it. Can't wait to go.
I got to say, you really put a lot into that. You got the voices.
It's good.
You
got the assignment.
Oh, yeah. The parrot the scene that you talked about, I did that in high school drama, that whole scene. So when I heard somebody had done that, I said, oh, that's perfect. I love that scene too.
Oh,
but
cool.
The Nights to Stay Neat, that was up on the radar of one to do.
Love that one.
I thought that should be done.
I think you made a good selection, though. That was fantastic.
Well played.
Riley, I'm so glad you've won our final pair of tickets. Hold on the line. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get some information from you off the air to get you your tickets. But, man, going out with a bang. That's
Impressive.
What I say. Very good. At 7:45, the headlines with Lisa.
RCMP up Island saying a man has died in a single vehicle collision. Happened about 35 kilometers west of Duncan. Early Thursday morning around 1:15, there were 5 people in a Honda Civic. 1 died, 4 others injured, and there are 4 are in hospital with serious injuries. They say criminality is involved. Political watchers in BC keeping a close watch on the BC Conservative Party leadership race. Electronic voting ends in about less than 15 minutes from now, giving the party time to tally the results and announce a new leadership starting tomorrow night at a gala. The party is using a preferential ballot this time, where members are asked to rank their choices from first to fifth. 5 candidates looking to replace former leader John Rustad. Stats Canada says economic growth stalled in the first quarter, and real gross domestic product was slightly negative on an annualized basis. The agency mainly blames higher imports of gold and a weak month for Canada's resource extraction industries in March for dragging down recent economic activity. Now, real GDP has declined for 2 consecutive quarters, meaning that's technically a technical recession. Meets the definition anyway, so the data paints a mixed picture of our economy. Real GDP declined last October and in March, but the growth was either flat or positive in the 4 months in between. And California is suing the DNA company 23andMe as the state accuses it of failing to protect consumer data from that massive cyber attack 3 years ago. A year ago, 23andMe filed for bankruptcy. It's now called Chrome Holding Company. California Attorney General Rob Bonta says the company failed to put in safeguards in place before they were hacked in 2023. He says criminals were able to steal the records of 7 million customers nationwide. Bonta says that theft included raw genetic data. That is your headline news to 747.
Thank you, Lisa. We have been talking a lot about Aboriginal relations, Indigenous relations here in BC for so many different reasons. Just a few moments ago, we were talking about this New Brunswick case that the Supreme Court won't hear. We've been wondering what that means for the Cowichan Tribes case here in BC, which has sort of rocked relations between the BC government and Indigenous people. And then at the same time, we've got controversy over the DRIPA legislation, the Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples Act. I think people on either side of that issue are upset with the BC government. So anyways, there's a lot of tension here. With that, there's a new BC Treaty Commission head, chief commissioner, George Abbott, who you might remember from his time in government. So we're going to talk to him coming up next and sort of place him in all of this and kind of figure out where things are going. Let's do that in just a moment. We got traffic and weather coming up too. Stand by.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Join Capital Bike for Spring Go By Bike Week, May 30th to June 5th. Register and find celebration stations at gobybikebc.ca. Sign up for the Walk for Alzheimer's Sunday, May 31st at Fisherman's Wharf. More info at walkforalzheimers.ca. Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
CFAX 1070 Morning Show brought to you by Thrifty Foods. Happy is deals and rewards in one app. Each Scene Plus points, earn those Scene Plus points faster by downloading the Thrifty Foods app and linking your Scene Plus card for personalized offers just for you. What's going on the roads? Nothing much. It's actually pretty clear out there. Other than there was a hint of a collision earlier. Oh, it's disappeared. There was a potential problem on the Pat Bay Highway earlier. I can't remember where it was because it's gone, so it must be gone now. So all clear. I'm going to stick with that. If you see a problem at all, though, text me at 71010. For BC Ferries, no sailing waits. And for the weather, blustery start today. We got a lot of wind. Got the small chance of showers hanging over us still this morning, but it should clear up as the day goes on. Highs of 17, but feeling cooler by the water today. Right now, it's 13 at the airport.
Thanks for starting your day with us. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070.
Well, for so many different reasons, a bit of a rocky time for relations between the BC government and Indigenous peoples in this province. And entering into that is a new Chief Commissioner of the BC Treaty Commission, somebody we know well from his time in BC politics. George Abbott is here to talk to us about all this. So let's bring him up on the line. George Abbott, good to talk to you again.
Good morning, and it's a real pleasure and honor to join you this morning.
Yeah, we spoke many times back in your days in the government. Now let's talk about this new role you've got. Maybe we'll set this up first off. Talk about what the BC Treaty Commission does and what you'll do as Chief Commissioner.
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to say what a huge honor it is to be Chief Commissioner and be asked to do so by Canada and British Columbia and the First Nations Summit, and I'm certainly looking forward to the role. The BC Treaty Commission facilitates and supports the creation of treaties in the province. It's a relatively new role in our history. Since 1993, the Commission has been there and supporting treaties. For the 150 years prior to that, there had not been treaties in the province, and that proves challenging in that today we're dealing with a province of 5.1 million people as compared to the approximately 8,576 settler population back in 1871 when British Columbia joined Canada. So we've got a lot of challenges in the process, but we're going to work each and every day to try to meet those challenges.
Yeah, I should probably acknowledge the interesting time you step into this, because maybe not necessarily all because of treaties, but for a number of different reasons, Indigenous relations have been strained as of late. How do you deal with that walking into this role with that atmosphere?
Well, one of the things I'm intending to do and will do is meet with people. Look forward to, doing lots of shows like this. Look forward to speaking to the public in different venues. Forward to talking a lot with participants in the BC treaty process. So I think people need to better understand the history that led us here, and also need, I think, to understand the many challenges that are faced not only by First Nations but by their partners in the treaty process. So there's lots to learn, lots to talk about, and I think that's first step is trying to ensure everyone understands clearly the situation that we're in.
Well, and that sounds like a long conversation, so I'm going to ask this knowing that we don't have time to do it justice, but maybe you could elaborate on that a little bit. What do you think are some of the big things that people should understand about this that maybe is a misconception that might add to some of the sort of tension that we're in right now?
Yeah, well, I'd say the big distinction and the big decision point, not only for government but for First Nations often, is negotiation versus litigation. We've seen examples of litigation in brightly colored letters recently in the form of the Cowichan decision from the BC Supreme Court. We've seen other court decisions that have, I think, had a strong impact on our relationship between First Nations and what we might term the settler population of British Columbia. One of the things we want to do is to try to make sure that the negotiation path is always a good and strong one. And it doesn't have to be for treaty. It can be for non-treaty agreements as well. But if the negotiation path is open and it's promising, there's less inclination to go to litigation. I mean, litigation is everyone's right. But the challenge with litigation is you never quite know what you may get at the end. It may be great for you or it may be very bad for you. Negotiation is a more predictable and hopefully certain and promising path to reconciliation in this province.
Now, I'm going to ask the dumb question here, but I think it is important to ask, because sometimes people wonder why we're even doing this. Because other parts of the country don't necessarily have this. You know, if you're coming from Ontario, for instance, this is not something that you have to deal with. It's a whole different setup there. Can you explain why BC has this still as a thing we need to deal with?
Sure, glad to do that. So British Columbia's history is much different than much of the rest of Canada, or really all of the rest of Canada. British Columbia was a British colony on its own back in the 1850s, 1860s. It took its own path with respect to Indigenous relations as a colony, and compared to Canada that did treaties with often very generous reserve allocations in advance of settlement. British Columbia didn't do that. British Columbia, particularly after the retirement of Governor Douglas, did what was called synchronous creation of reserves. That is, they would create the reserves after typically white settlement had occurred. The consequence of that is that we have all of these unresolved land title issues and Aboriginal title issues that need to be resolved. And the Supreme Court of Canada has said on numerous occasions now that we need to resolve them, that they don't go away on their own. So that's why British Columbia is very much different than Canada in that respect.
There's been some of these treaties in the news just very recently. I know the spring session of the legislature just wrapped up, and we did see the Comox Treaty Act, which the government tabled during the session. It passed, I believe, yesterday on a vote. So there's some progress on one. I think there was another treaty, though, involving another part of BC, which didn't get across the line this session. So we do have a couple of these active. Maybe talk about that and the fact that these are in progress, and in some cases, they're moving forward.
Yeah, both the Comox and Kitselis treaties were introduced into the spring session, and Comox Bill 20 was the first. Kitselis Bill 21 was the second. Comox was the object of extensive discussion and debate in the legislature, and it just cleared as the session is closing. So we'll see Kitselis come back for second reading and all the other stages of bills in the fall session. We'll also see the introduction of the Kitsum-Kalem bill. I'm not sure what the number will be in that case, but they will make their way through, hopefully in the fall session, but we'll see. There has been considerable controversy around overlaps with respect to all of these treaties, and we're going to be working very hard to see if we can resolve those issues in the months ahead.
Yeah, because that's been an interesting part of these. Is like occasionally you have disagreements between First Nations themselves over who gets claim over what. So I guess that's a thing that's continued to be an issue in getting these things across the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And the core of the challenge is that pre-contact, pre-settlement in British Columbia and Canada, obviously First Nations went to different corners of their territories to hunt, other areas to fish, other areas to gather, other areas to trap, and often their territories overlap. Further, our settlement policies in British Columbia have made those issues far more acute because now, and we saw it very powerfully with the Comox Treaty, there's not huge amounts of lands available, crown lands available. Much of it's been privatized or, it's sold to the public over time. It's very difficult to find the area, and when you do, other First Nations may have some claim to it. So that's the challenge we're going to be trying to resolve over the months ahead.
A lot of work to do, and I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk about it. George Abbott took on the role as BC Treaty Commission Chief Commissioner back in April, and we're talking to him here about the work that's ahead. Thank you so much for doing it, but we got to leave it there because the 8 o'clock news is next. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Look forward to joining you again. Bye-bye.
Have you made CFAX 1070 a preset on the new and improved iHeartRadio app?
iHeartRadio app? What about your favorite podcast, like The Vashi Capello Show?
Some great interviews for you with some big players.
With presets, everything you need is one tap away.
And with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, it's right there on your dashboard, so you can stay connected and informed on the road.
Find out what everyone's talking about.
Get the new and improved free iHeartRadio app today.
And listen to CFAX 1070. CFAX Victoria.
An iHeartRadio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. It is 8:02 on Friday, May 29th. A little late for the news. Let's get right to it. And here is Lisa Best.
Good morning. Sydney councillors say they're encouraged with the first round of consultation about a new town hall. The existing structure was built in 1964 and becoming costly to maintain. Residents have low interest in the idea of renting, but want to minimize cost and limit borrowing. They don't want to see condos as part of the new structure and are open to a new location or staying put. Mayor Cliff McNeil Smith is pleased with the community's response so far.
I think this was an excellent first engagement for the community, combining open houses, combining the survey, receiving correspondence. So I think we're off to a good start in the community engagement and the information that we're providing the community. I think the community understands this process is going to take a couple of years to work its way through in the options, and we certainly appreciate the level of input we have at this stage to consider as we go to our next steps.
The input will be used to assist council to identify which options warrant further explanation before draft concepts for a future town hall are developed and shared with the community for consideration. So no decisions made yet, but they're on the path there. Ottawa's fighter jet review could open the door for Canada to build more warplanes for Ukraine. Swedish defense company Saab says Canada could become a production and export site for Gripen fighter jets if the federal government chooses its aircraft over the U.S.-made F-35. Saab executive Andres Karp says some Canadian-built Gripens could ultimately be delivered for Ukraine under the European support program.
The drone war, which is terrible, that is in this stage of the war. The fighters should, if Ukraine had more modern fighters, I think the war could have looked differently right now. But it's also about deterrence, to have a threshold. A country should have a threshold so no one even dares to start thinking about invading.
The comments come days after Ottawa announced negotiations with Saab to purchase globalized surveillance aircraft. A Royal Canadian Air Force flyover this morning, later, marking the change of command at CFB Esquimalt today for the Canadian Fleet Pacific. The ceremony fly past is scheduled for about 11:25 this morning during the parade that will happen as well. CP Aurora 140 from 407 Squadron based in Comox will take part alongside a CH-148 Cyclone helicopter from 443 Squadron, Pat Bay. An Ontario man accused of selling deadly substances online to people at risk of self-harm has pleaded guilty to 14 counts of aiding suicide.
Kenneth Law was set to stand trial last month on these charges, as well as 14 counts of first-degree murder. But his defense lawyer indicated the murder charges would be withdrawn and Law would instead plead guilty to the lesser charges. Court heard today that the Crown plans to withdraw the murder charges after Law is sentenced, with a hearing expected this fall.
Police say Law ran several websites that were used to sell sodium nitrate and other items that could be used for self-harm. Some 1,200 packages were shipped to people in more than 40 countries, including 160 addresses across Canada. That's your news to 8:05. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking, do you agree with the Supreme Court of Canada decision to uphold a ruling that Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land? 90% plus saying yes on our CFAX website right now. You can vote at CFAX1070.com or the iHeartRadio app. I'm Lisa Best, your News Times 807.
Why? Thank you, Lisa, and good morning. Welcome to Friday. It's kind of icky out there.
That's a good word.
Chance of
Very
showers,
succinct.
a lot of wind. Although, hopefully, as the day goes on, it starts to kind of clear up a little bit. We're expecting a bit more sunshine by this afternoon. Temperatures eventually to get to 17 degrees, although cooler by the water because I think it still stays a little unsettled today off the Juan de Fuca Strait. The weekend, though, maybe looking up. We'll get you a full forecast in just a moment. But yeah, that's the day so far as we get into this Friday. And we're going to get into a lot of local sports this weekend. Victoria Shamrocks at the Q Center tonight to take on the Langley Thunder. Shamrocks have won both their first two games to start the season. Also, the Junior Shamrocks, a couple of big games this weekend. Tier 1 Junior B Rocks, they got a 9-0 record on the line as they head into a game against the Port Coquitlam Saints at 12:30 tomorrow. Then after that, the Junior A boys take on the new Westminster Salmon Bellies. Both those games at the Q Center tomorrow. But again, the main Senior Shamrocks tonight against the Langley Thunder. Pacific FC with a new head coach. They have former Canadian international midfielder Terry Dunfield as the guy taking over coaching duties. But we hear it's going to happen in July, so they got a few weeks before then. And some games like the one we're going to see tomorrow. Pacific FC hosting Ottawa at Starlight Stadium. Over to hockey, where the Carolina Hurricanes are facing, are about to maybe eliminate the Montreal Canadiens. Carolina Hurricanes up 3-1, heading into tonight's game. Defenseman with Montreal, Alexandre Carrier, says his team is used to being counted out.
As part of our team, I think we're a team that competes, younger group, that a fast-paced team. I think it's important that we keep that and we stay desperate.
The Canadiens took the series opener in convincing fashion, but have been outshot 109-43 in 3 consecutive losses, including Wednesday's 4-0 home defeat, the one that pushed them to the brink. In baseball, American League Division rivals, East Division rivals, I should say, meeting tonight in Baltimore. Toronto Blue Jays won the opener in the 4-game series last night. So the Blue Jays, if they get a win tonight, by the way, can get back to the 500 mark with another win. Yesterday was 2-1, by the way, over Baltimore. NBA's Western Conference Final is going back to Oklahoma City for a deciding Game 7. San Antonio rolled to a 118-91 home victory over the Thunder back in Game 6. The winning team goes on to play the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. That championship series, with whoever's going to be in it, begins on Wednesday. That's your sports to 8:09. CFAX 1070, traffic and weather. So I had this text. It says, heads up, there was a car on fire this morning on Finlayson Arm Road near Goldstream Park. There was a fire truck taking care of it. Can you find out what happened? I don't know. I haven't got any information about this, but if you know anything, text us at 71010. I don't see that showing up as a blip right now as far as traffic problems on Finlayson Arm Road, but let us know. Everything else is looking clear today. No waits at BC Ferries either, although it's getting kind of full at 9. The 9 o'clock sailing from Swartz Bay to Tsawwassen, but 90% full for the vehicle deck space. The weather forecast, it's windy. It's a chance of showers this morning. It does clear up a little bit for the afternoon with a bit of sunshine on the way, but it's going to stay a little windy today. Highs of 17, a bit cooler by the water. It should be a mix of sun and cloud through the weekend, though. Temperatures into the kind of high teens for Saturday and Sunday. Monday might be the same. We could go back to more of this unsettled stuff into Tuesday, Wednesday, but we'll look at that long-range forecast as we get closer to it. But it does look like we're going to head into more unsettled weather mid-next week. Right now, it is 13 degrees at the Victoria International Airport. On the markets, S&P TSX in Toronto down 39 points to 34,478. We had news out of StatsCan this morning that Canada has slipped into a technical recession with the economy stalling in quarter one. Dow Jones Industrials in New York up 313 points to 50,982. The Canadian dollar at 72.6 cents US, which is now up a little bit from yesterday's close. We have the barrel of oil as well. Let's talk about that. Down at $1.15 to $87.75 US a barrel.
In the kitchen, in the car, and at the office. Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Take us with you. Listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Crew wrote this song in 2026 if it would be vaping in the boys' room.
Oh, probably.
Wonder.
It's not their song, but they certainly did it justice.
Vaping in the boys' room?
Oh, the vaping in the boys' room would be new, yeah. I like it.
Well, there you go. That's a cue to call. I mean, text, not call. Don't call. Text.
Do not text Rick. We can't enter you into the contest. We're getting Rickrolled.
We are getting Rickrolled.
We want Rock, not Rick.
It's the CFAX Summer of Rock, where when you hear a Motley Crue song this week, which you just did, you text Rock to 107. Sorry, I'm getting all the numbers wrong. I think it's Friday. 107010. That's the one.
Did you run a half marathon last weekend or something?
Yeah. Running out of the steam now. 107010. Text us Rock. It's the CFAX Summer of Rock. We got tickets to Motley Crue coming in July. We've got the accommodations at the Rosedale and Robson. We've got the Helijet flights. We got it all. And we're going to draw one of the texts that we've been getting all this week on Monday coming up with the big winner. So get ready. We're going to call somebody on Monday with the winner. But we're not even done yet because the CFAX Summer of Rock will continue with AC/DC, with Guns N' Roses. So much more to come. And it's all powered by the Sax Point Pub in Esquimalt.
Hard to follow that.
It's actually just good advice, by the way, for any kids listening. Smoking is not allowed in school, and
Thanks,
that's
Ryan.
still true.
Thanks, Ryan.
Motley Crue is bringing you the life advice today.
Yeah, from the rockers. Never mind. News? How about some news?
You text 71010, by the way.
Okay.
Just saying again, because I think I gave a bunch of numbers out before.
We did.
One of those brain freezes.
And we also said, Rick, don't do that because
it's
we can't
rock.
enter you into the contest. But you'll get a kickback saying you're entered in the contest if you use the word rock.
That's right. Okay. What's happening in the news?
The BC government releasing some interesting numbers for us this hour, very shortly, in fact. I'll update this hour on the costs and economic benefits of the upcoming FIFA World Cup games coming to Vancouver. First game goes June 13th, so soon enough. Cabinet Minister Ravi Kahlon and Kang have scheduled a news conference happening in Vancouver where the game's revenue and contribution projections are also expected to be updated. Vancouver hosting 7 games in the tournament. The parliamentary budget officer says Canada will spend a combined $1 billion at the 6 games of Toronto, including that price tab. The BC government has estimated last June that hosting the Vancouver Games is going to cost between $532 million and $624 million. So we'll find out soon enough what the final tab look like it's going to be. Prime Minister Mark Carney is set to meet with China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi today in Ottawa. Wang is also expected to meet with Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand as part of his 3-day trip here. A statement from Anand's office last week said the two are expected to discuss the recently updated Canada-China strategic partnership, trade, investment, and global security. Carney said yesterday his visit to China earlier this year was important due to the relationship between Canada and China. It was in need of a reset. And souvenirs from Stephen Colbert's hosting appearances on 2 Only in Monroe public access shows are available for auction. Colbert hosted the show in July 2015 and again on May 22nd of this year, a night after The Late Show on CBS ended. Bidding on the show's official eBay store runs through Monday, but Colbert's final script is now at around $1,200. The signed coffee mug up to about $600. Crazy money. That's your news to 8:17.
Coming up next, interesting issue around about the city of Duncan here on Vancouver Island. So they're studying the idea of changing their boundaries. How often do you get a municipality that decides it wants to change its borders? Yeah, to literally push its boundaries. We have been looking into this issue because there's the, Duncan wants to do this. North Cowichan, though, is the municipality that surrounds Duncan. How do they feel about this? I don't think they're quite pleased with the idea of Duncan expanding into them. But it's an interesting history because if you actually look at you think of Duncan as being a much larger area than it is. It's tiny. The actual city of Duncan is this really minuscule little bit of what you might think of as Duncan. So you can see why there's a bit of an issue here.
Okay, but you think of your neighbor's property, and your property is an acre, and theirs is only a quarter of an acre.
Yeah.
And you try to push in. What's your neighbor going to say to you?
Yeah, and how does this work? But this is something they're looking into. So we're going to talk to the mayor of Duncan about what they're doing here and how it actually works. It's just a study at this point. It's not like they're doing anything as of yet, but they're looking into it.
Yeah.
And what's the story here? We're going to get into that next.
Whether it's siding, gutters, or decking, ProTech Exterior Products has it all. Visit beahomepro.com to find out more.
CFAX 1070 traffic and weather. No crashes or accidents on the roads. Major routes are all looking clear for this Friday morning commute around Greater Victoria. BC Ferries, it's getting a little busy at 9, but no sailing waits as of yet. And in the weather forecast, it's been a blustery start to the day. The wind's still blowing. It's overcast. It feels colder. We've had such a lovely few days. Today's definitely an unsettled kind of day, and there's a small chance of showers hanging over us in the morning hours. We should start to clear up a little bit later into the afternoon. Might still have that wind blowing if you're by the water, so feeling cooler by the Wandafuka Strait today. Otherwise, a high of about 17 degrees today, cooler by the water. The weekend does clear up a bit. We get a mix of sun and cloud for Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures around about 17 degrees. That might continue on Monday as well before maybe some more unsettled stuff coming at us Tuesday, Wednesday-ish in the long-range forecast, although we'll see how that shapes up.
Ryan and Lisa. Mornings on CFAX 1070. Remember, you have us in the palm of your hand. For listeners on the go, listen live on the free iHeartRadio app.
Joining us on the line right now, the mayor of Duncan is Michelle Staples. Hello, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Great to get you here. So, interesting issue. City of Duncan moving forward with an independent boundary study looking into, your municipal boundaries in Duncan. Talk about what you're trying to do here.
Well, as you know, there's been amalgamation studies done here in the past. And the last round of amalgamation studies in 2017, the city wanted to ask questions about boundary restructure rather than amalgamation. Amalgamation is always the theme that comes up, but maybe we're asking the wrong question. Things have changed a lot since 1912. Boundaries were made for all sorts of various reasons here, and our cities have grown and changed, our regions have. And so we wanted to ask a different question. Why amalgamation? Why not looking at what actually makes sense for how our boundaries align? And so that was put to referendum. We'd asked North Cowichan at that time to put it on their question, and they weren't interested in doing that. The city pursued with that, and it's been sitting on our strategic plan since. In 2019, we were supposed to start the study, but of course the pandemic happened, and it's been on our strat plan ever since. And we still really believe that question needs to be answered.
So this is a long-standing issue. This is nothing new, but just this study is kind of moving forward now, I guess, is the reason it's hitting the news. And one thing we should clarify is, what are the municipal boundaries of Duncan? Because whenever I actually look at the map of it, the official boundaries, I'm always surprised at how small it is and how little of the area you think of as Duncan is actually Duncan.
Absolutely. I mean, to go through with you what the boundaries are right now would take a long time, but we do have a small footprint. We're we are the smallest city by land mass in Canada, and we're really proud of that. This isn't about, and again, these lines were drawn when the municipality and the city became two different entities rather than one, and there was a lot of reason why that happened. And I can't speak to why they were drawn that way. I can assume it was because of where the business community was at that time, because that was the issue between the two, was a difference between rural and city challenges that they were having. There's a lot of them. There's some great stories if you ever want to do something on that. And now, I'm sitting right now outside just off Canada Avenue on Duncan Street, and I'm actually in North Cowichan, sitting on half of Duncan Street, and I'm looking across at the city of Duncan, and half of the street runs all the way down on Canada is in Duncan, and the other side of the street is in North Cowichan, and those things just don't make sense for the continuity of our communities. And so the question shouldn't just be amalgamation. It should be what else is possible and what else actually deserve to be looked at, given the change of our communities.
So I'll play a little game here. So the game is this in Duncan or not? So if you're, I don't think it's there anymore, but where the big stick used to be at the hockey arena there, Duncan or not?
Not.
See, that's the thing. You'd might think that's Duncan. Okay, here's another one. The Doghouse Restaurant right off the highway, Duncan or not?
Not, and also not in North Cowichan.
Oh, where's that?
The Cowichan Tribes.
Oh, Cowichan Tribes, yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, all these things you think of as the city of Duncan are not in the city of Duncan. It's such a small little area. So I guess that's kind of why you're looking into this. Why does it matter? Why does Duncan need to expand these boundaries?
It's not about necessarily needing to expand the boundaries. It's about the question of amalgamation, right? That question never really goes away. It always kind of just festers underneath the surface of everything. But again, that's not necessarily the right question to be asking. And so we want to see, and our citizens wanted to see, our residents, what could actually be possible other than amalgamation. And so it's a study. There's partnerships that would have to be developed. There would be a whole process that would have to happen should anything come from that study. But should that question arise again in the future, which it's most likely to, then we have other options for us to consider, which we haven't had in the past.
How are you communicating with your neighbors in North Cowichan about this? Because we spoke to Rob Douglas. He's the mayor of that municipality. The mayor of a lot of the areas you might think of as Duncan. He spoke to us, and he said he had some concerns. I just want to play you a few moments of what he had to say to us yesterday.
So on one hand, we're concerned about the approach here that we've been neighbors with Duncan for over 100 years, and our track record is one of collaboration, of partnership. I mean, we work together on service delivery, land use planning. We're working together right now and undertaking a major road construction project on Canada Avenue. And we'd hope that relationship would continue going forward. But obviously, this throws a bit of a wrench in that.
So that's what he had to say to us yesterday. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't think to have a relationship means that we have to agree on everything that the other person, in this case, or I guess the other jurisdiction, believes is important to them. So our relationship and our collaborations are not going to cease to exist. They're going to continue. They're really important, and we strive to have really strong and healthy relationships with each other. This is a question our residents wanted us to ask, and we're asking it. It's not a threat to North Cowichan. It's simply a study to look at what is possible. And, to have a response that we've been working with North Cowichan, as I mentioned earlier, when we did the amalgamation study, we asked them to put this on their as one of their questions, and they said no. In January, we reached out and said, we're moving forward with the study. We've always had an open and transparent conversation about this with North Cowichan. We invited them again to participate. Again, they said no. So it's not like there hasn't been any communication. There's been really clear and consistent communication. It's just that this is something that's important to us, and so we're going to study it. And the next time, the amalgamation question came up in their response to review the amalgamation decision. I can't say that I know that we don't support that. Amalgamation has failed, so let's look at something else and have a discussion about that.
Michelle Staples is the mayor of Duncan. Thank you so much for talking to us about this independent boundary study, which will take place as we look into the issue. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Take care. Have a good day.
Okay. We'll follow that, see where it goes, and we'll take a break right now for the 8:30 news.
It's time to ride, Victoria. Go By Bike Week returns May 30th to June 5th. Grab your wheels and bike to work, school, or wherever the wind takes you. Throughout the week, celebration stations across the region will offer free snacks, bike support, giveaways, and community vibes. Plus, there's hundreds of local prizes up for grabs. Make sure you register and log your rides for your chance to win. Go By Bike Week. For more info, visit CFAX1070.com.
CFAX Victoria.
An iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
It's here.
CFAX 1070.
It's 8:31 on this Friday, May 29th. Kind of an unsettled start to the day. We got clouds. We got a chance of showers. We've had this wind blowing all night, chasing the recycling down the streets for some neighborhoods. So we'll get you a full forecast in just a moment, but that's what we're getting up into. Right now, the news begins, and here is Lisa Best.
Thank you, and good morning. Stats Canada says economic growth stalled in the first quarter, leading to a second consecutive decline in real gross domestic product.
2 straight quarters of economic declines meet some definitions of a technical recession, but the StatCan report paints a mixed picture. Over the past 6 months, we saw economic contractions in October and March, which weighed on the fourth quarter of 2025 and first quarter of 2026. When you annualize the quarterly GDP figures, as economists typically do, it shows back-to-back contractions, a technical recession. Bay Street economists will no doubt be debating whether Canada is truly in a recession as they assess the depth of the downturn, but BMO's chief economist says no, not really. Michelle Zedekian, The Canadian Press.
Mark Carney's latest characterization of the Canada-U.S. relationship getting lots of attention. In a speech before the Economic Club in New York, he told a crowd of business leaders that Canada Strong will help make America great again. CTV's Graham Richardson was there.
Carney's speech was heavy on change in what he described as a new Canada.
That future should include a new partnership with Canada, a true partnership that reimagines cooperation in specific sectors that are deeply challenged by global competition.
A different story from the opposition leader, accusing the Liberals and Carney of flip-flopping.
Cannot seem to decide if integration with the U.S. is a strength or a weakness. He's argued passionately for both positions in the last 3 months alone.
Carney never mentioned Donald Trump by name during his speech, and so far the U.S. president hasn't issued public reaction on it. The Supreme Court of Canada has upheld a ruling that Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land. It refused to hear a First Nation appeal against the decision done in New Brunswick. Attorney General Nikki Sharma in this province says it bodes well for the province's appeal concerning lands in Richmond, BC.
The arguments that we made are essentially the ones that court found, and the fact that the Supreme Court of Canada decided to leave that case intact, so the finding that basically upheld private property rights, I think that bodes well for the arguments that we're making at this level of court on appeal, that we will be making on appeal and that we made in the trial case.
In the New Brunswick decision, an appeal court judge says a declaration of Aboriginal title over privately owned lands would sound like the death knell of reconciliation with the interests of non-Aboriginal Canadians. Health Minister Marjorie Michel defending the decision to restrict travel from 3 African countries. This after the World Health Organization says it recommends against measures. Michel says Canada, the U.S., Mexico needs to align measures to the upcoming FIFA World Cup.
People are traveling a lot during FIFA, and even if Canada still remains low risk, but we are taking all the precautionary measures.
Canada will pause some immigration and travel applications for 90 days, require a 21-day self-isolation period for recent travelers from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, and South Sudan. And a marquee celebration intended to celebrate the America's birthday in Washington, D.C. next month faces controversy as artists continue to remove themselves from the lineup.
The Commodores, and now Martina McBride. Let freedom are among at least 4 musical acts pulling out of a concert series being held in the National Mall beginning next month. The concerts are being run by Freedom 250, a group launched by President Trump to organize the nation's birthday festivities. The group claims to be nonpartisan, but some artists say they were not aware Freedom 250 was founded by the president. Martina McBride saying, "I was presented with an opportunity to perform at a nonpartisan event, but that turned out to be misleading."
The celebration is scheduled June 25th through July 10th in Washington, D.C. That's your news, 8:36. Your CFAX 1070 news poll question this morning. We're asking, do you agree with the Supreme Court of Canada's decision to uphold a ruling that Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land? 94% say yes. You can vote now at CFAX1070.com or the iHeartRadio app. And Lisa, best your news time is 8:37.
Hey, thanks, Lisa. Good morning. We are a little bit on the windy side, a little bit on the cloudy side, and we've got a small chance of showers with us this morning. It does clear up later today, and we'll give you the full forecast in a moment. Right now, over to the sports. We'll start in hockey, where the Montreal Canadiens facing elimination tonight, down 3-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes as we head into tonight's game. And winger Cole Caulfield says the belief in the team's locker room is still high, despite the odds of the comeback being a little on the slimmer side.
We faced adversity a lot this year, and we've been resilient, so just kind of not getting too far ahead of ourselves and just doing what we can and controlling what we can, but just being ready for tomorrow and giving everything we got. If the Canadiens can survive tonight and keep their season alive, Game 6 would be back at the Bell Centre in Montreal on Sunday. Locally, Victoria Shamrocks at the Q Centre tonight to take on the Langley Thunder. Shamrocks have started the season with 2 wins, heading into their third game tonight, hoping to carry on that momentum. Pacific FC have a new head coach. He's going to start in July. Former Canadian international midfielder. He's been with the Whitecaps. He's done a lot, and now he's going to be the coach of Pacific FC. Terry Dunfield taking over the duties. He's widely also known to soccer fans as an analyst and color commentator on TSN. Pacific FC, by the way, still winless this season, play Ottawa tomorrow at Starlight Stadium. Speaking of soccer, the 26-man roster for the World Cup team for Canada will be released today. The tournament beginning June 11th. Canada co-hosting with the U.S. and Mexico. The Canadian players are in training in Charlotte this week. Canada's group stage opener is June 12th in Toronto against Bosnia-Herzegovina. That's your CFAX Sports to 8:39. CFAX Morning Show brought to you by Coastal Heat Pumps. For a comfortable home no matter the season. Big savings on your heating bill. Talk to Coastal Heat Pumps. They're designed for comfort. The South Island's Elite Plus Fujitsu Air Stage dealer. Okay, so for traffic and weather, we're still fairly problem-free on the roads. I did have a texter earlier indicating that there might have been some kind of vehicle fire on Finlayson Arm Road near Goldstream Park earlier today. I haven't heard anything else about it. If you know anything, let me know at 71010. Don't think it's causing any trouble. For BC Ferries, no... actually, you know what? We just filled up the 9 o'clock. I was thinking that might happen. So it's a 1 sail way to BC Ferries. 9 is full from Sports Bay to Tsawwassen. The 10 o'clock is your next available vessel with vehicle deck space left. And the weather, let's talk about it because there's a lot going on. So we got this chance of showers this morning. It's been quite windy overnight, and that's kind of carrying on. Wind blowing off the Juan de Fuca Strait, making it feel quite a bit cooler than it is. Today, as we move into the afternoon, we should get into some sunshine. The sky should start to clear. This chance of showers will disappear. It's going to get to a high of 17 degrees. We will still see wind off the water, and it's still going to feel a little bit cooler, so that's not going to change today. That's kind of the picture of this unsettled Friday. It clears up more so, though, for the weekend. Saturday and Sunday looking like a mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures in the high teens. That's the same on Monday. We could start to see the unsettled weather returning maybe Tuesday into Wednesday with more clouds and a chance of showers back into our forecast. Right now, for the temperatures, like I said, feeling a little cooler by the water. In Colwood, it's 10 degrees. At the International Airport in Sydney, it's 13 degrees. On the markets, S&P TSX in Toronto up 161 points now. It's been kind of bouncing back and forth, but right now making gains and up to 34,679. The Dow in New York is up 398 to 51,067. The Nasdaq is up 67 to 26,985. Canadian dollar at 72.6 cents US.
Ryan and Lisa, mornings on CFAX 1070. Oversleepers, catch all the highlights on the latest audio podcast at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
Well, time to get our Friday food vibes on, but we'll start with the Friday wine vibes. Rod Phillips, the Dork Uncorked, is here. Hey, Rod, how you doing?
Good. So because it's the Friday food vibes, you want to have something to cleanse the palate first, right?
There you go. Exactly. Yeah. That's what we're doing here. Rod and I host a show, by the way, on the weekends here on CFAX called Dork Uncorked. It's Saturdays at 5, Sundays at noon, or you can find the podcast on any podcast service. And we're doing a series of special episodes right now, quickly, that I'll tell you about. We're interviewing local chefs about cooking with wine. So they're sharing recipes, and the recipes have to involve wine. That's kind of the gimmick, but it's been a fascinating journey. Our second episode of this airs this weekend. Don't miss it. It's going to be a great chance to hear the chef who's currently at Perro Negro, which is right above Ferris's Oyster Bar. So he's there. They do a lot of tapas stuff, but you won't believe what he gets up to in his own home kitchen when it comes to cooking with wine. He's going to share something special for us. I'm really looking forward to this, Rod.
Oh, and I'm hungry.
Yeah. Okay. But what do you got for us?
Well, I've got something light and something to go with the color of my my shirt here. For those who can't see it, it's like a rosé. Color shirt. Yeah.
You dressed for the wine.
I dressed for the wine, just for the occasion, really. But it was also the first clean T-shirt in my closet.
That's it. Yeah,
okay. So last week I mentioned Vinho Verde, right? Like we talked about Portugal, and we're going to stay there because at the same time that I was I bought some rosé, Portuguese rosé, because we were going for dinner with friends, and those friends had chicken fajitas as the menu item, and I was tasked with finding the right wine to pair with that. And I'm thinking, God, chicken fajitas, you got some chilies, you got, the chicken is going to, take in a lot of the flavor profile. Man, what am I going to do? So I went and chose a frizzante style, like a slightly effervescent style rosé from Portugal. It's from the Vinho Verde region. Vinhão is the name of the grape, which has a little bit of a pink color to it, but it naturally grows in the Vinho Verde region. And it was absolutely perfect. It went with everything. I'm not a big fan of sautéed or grilled peppers. A tough thing to pair with that food stuff is a wine. It makes it really difficult to pair, but this wine particularly worked extremely well. Now, unlike most of the time where I refer to a wine that is on sale and punch it above its weight, this is its regular price, $15. You'll find it only in government stores, but $15. It's called Lago. We've talked about it before. It's a lovely pink wine. You'll see it in the Portuguese section. It's $15. It is absolutely delicious. It is one of those, if you're sitting down just before dinner, having a glass, it's the perfect time. If you're having Mexican-style foods or anything with a little bit of zip to it, go with the Lago Rosé from Portugal. $15. You will love it.
It's our little bit of a wine pick from Rod Phillips, the Dork Uncorked, and we'll be talking again this weekend. Until then, have a great time. Have a great rest of your Friday.
Alrighty, you too. Cheers.
And stick around because Dallas from the Vic Food Guys is shifting it over to things to eat this weekend in a moment. But right now, the news begins, and here's Lisa.
The U.S. president is saying the U.S. blockade on ships traveling through the Strait of Hormuz will now be lifted. This, according to a recent post on his Truth Social site. The U.S. and Iran have both set up independent blockades on most tanker traffic through the narrow passage on Iran's southern shore. We'll keep you posted on the latest developments. Our Royal Canadian Air Force flyover to mark the change of command for CFB, or make that a Canadian Fleet Pacific at CFB Esquimalt today. That happens around just before 11:30. There's a parade scheduled as well. The CP-140 Aurora from 407 Squadron based in Comox will take part, as well as the CH-148 Cyclone helicopter from 443 Squadron, Pat Bay. And Canada's federal wildfire forecast for this year shows BC is facing the highest and most sustained fire risk in the country, with risk building due to drought conditions and warmer weather. The federal government says Western Canada is seeing persistent and long-standing precipitation deficits, though some regions are receiving rain and snow over the past 6 months, possibly delaying wildfire conditions. Of course, with us, it's more of the January effect. The forecast also calling for above normal temperatures in BC and almost all of Canadian regions between June and August. The BC Wildfire Service says there's currently about 20 fires burning in the province, so right now we're ahead of the game. That's your news to 8:47.
We're going to get our Friday food vibes on. Dallas from the Vic Food Guys joining us with several different new things to try this weekend. That's right after traffic and weather.
Next time on the TED Radio Hour.
Cardiologist Sandeep Johar says heartache isn't just a figure of speech.
The heart can acutely weaken in response to heartbreak or grief. It's sort of the organ on which our emotions are most deeply written.
How heartache changes us. That's next time on the TED Radio Hour from NPR.
TED Radio Hour. Listen Sundays on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
CFAX traffic and weather. One stay away to BC Ferries. 9 o'clock is full. 10 is your next one with vehicle deck space left from Sports Bay to Sawasan. Roads look pretty clear. No crashes or accidents. Text me at 71010 if you see otherwise. For the weather, it's kind of cloudy. It's a little cold feeling. Got the wind off the water. Strong winds off the Wandafuka Strait will kind of continue today, but we will get into some sunshine, and this chance of showers will leave us as we get into the afternoon, and then it keeps improving into the weekend with a mix of sun and cloud for Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures reaching a high of 17 to 19 degrees in that range, although, as always, cooler by the water ahead of us for today and the weekend. Right now, it's 13 degrees at the Victoria International Airport. It's 11 degrees downtown.
Ryan and Lisa are ready when you are.
Good morning.
Day or night, find the highlights under latest audio at CFAX1070.com and on the free iHeartRadio app.
And I'm always excited on a Friday to talk to Dallas from the Vic Food Guys. Dallas, you here? Hello?
I am here, yeah.
Okay, are you ready for this, Dallas? Are you ready?
You know, every time before we start these things, I question if I'm actually in a state to be speaking or not. The morning, I don't know what, and then I just do it, and it's like we have a good time. So
you definitely take a run at it.
Well, here, I'm going to get you into the mood, Dallas.
Eat it. Just eat it. Come on, then, let's go.
Friday food vibes.
You ever think about what we put into our mouths?
All the time.
You are cooking
on CFAX 1070.
Are you ready now, Dallas?
That's a little bit of pre-workout that I needed. We need to get the workout in now.
Now, last time we spoke, you were talking about going to this prawn fest that was last weekend, and I know that was last weekend, but I just want to talk about that really quickly. How did it go?
Yeah, I took some of my own advice in the last week, and I did 3 of the things I talked about. They were all awesome. But Prawn Fest, I can't believe that Finest at Sea made all of that happen in their driveway. Like, they had all these chefs rotating through every couple hours. Like this amazing, incredible stuff being done with spot prawns. I think at one point they ran out of prawns. They had to wait for more fresh ones to come off of the boat.
Oh, like literally they had to wait for the boat to arrive. Oh, I love that.
Yes, and I had a raw spot prawn, which I'd never had. I actually enjoyed it more than the cooked ones. Huh. And I would never normally do that, but I trust them. So I had it, and it was fantastic. Prawn Fest was great. Tequila Nights last Sunday night was phenomenal. You know, the first time they had run that event it was at the Save On Food Center in the foyer, and you actually forgot you were in the arena. It was very cool. That was great. And then I went to March and had some more of that incredible Chinese food at March. And when I was actually at March, I want to give a shout out. If anybody's looking to commission some stained glass work or custom glassware, I met a couple that owns Salvatore Glass Studio. They were lovely people, and I wanted to give them a shout out, but they were eating there as well.
Okay, so you go to this Chinese restaurant you love called March, and you stumble upon stained glass workers. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, it's a couple that they have this. They moved here and they're doing custom glass work, and I looked them up on Instagram, and it's like this was actually one thing I was wondering who specialized in that. You know,
are they in Esquimalt?
I don't know where they're located.
I think I know the name. Yeah.
Yeah, and I looked it up, and it just looks really cool. So if anybody wants any of that, I would say go to them. They were awesome people. But I got a list here, so we got to start plowing through. I think all the stuff upcoming here for everybody to go check out.
And can I start with one? I'm just going to jump right in here because I was so curious to see this. Recently, I've been walking by where the old Willie's Bakery used to be. And a very, very iconic sort of building. It's right by the entrance where you go into that alley where Il Terrazzo is. But anyways, Willie's Bakery's been gone for a while. It was then Friends of Dorothy, and then that left the space. And I've been wondering for a while, what's going to fill this space? Because it is quite an iconic spot. And we now have an answer, don't we?
Yeah, there's a place called Birdman that is open up in that space. It's open 11:30 a.m. to midnight every day. And so the whole Birdman concept, I think, sort of grew out of the pandemic. It was kind of like a pop-up late-night offering at Wind Cries Mary. And it was very fried chicken forward. So the restaurant, now that they're open, it really does, like chicken is sort of at the forefront, but there are other options. And it's just going to be like comfort food goodness is basically how I take it. Okay. So you're going to go in there, you're just going to chill and have a good time.
So fried comfort food started as a pop-up at the Wind Cries Mary restaurant, and now they got their own restaurant where the old Willie's Bakery used to be. That's cool. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack things. I was just excited about that one.
No, it opened up last week, and I there's so many things to talk about that I sometimes forget things or skip them. But this weekend, we got a couple of things happening. One of them, quick shout out to Darren. You guys had him on this week for the Peacoles Market that's starting this Sunday. It's going to be every Sunday from 10 to 1 p.m. at Lambrick Park. Just going to be a great selection of vendors. It's going to be a very like neighborhood type feel. It's really special for that area by Lambrick Park there, but it's going to be just a great market, and that's going to be happening every Sunday now moving forward. And then we have another market that's going to be both days just this weekend that's happening at the Fernwood Community Center called the Ichigo Strawberry Market. And so it's 11 to 4 p.m. both days. That one costs you $4 to get in, or kids are free. But this one, I've never been to this, and I was talking with the organizer yesterday, and there's over 130 vendors that are going to be at this market. So it's a very large-scale operation, I would say.
And is this just because it's strawberry season, and so we're celebrating it, or what's this all about?
Yeah. I mean, like we have, like there's another one that sort of happens, like the Blossom Market that happens. There's this one. And it's sort of celebrating that sort of time of year, I guess, where things are happening. And there's like a theme related to it, which is really cool. So, but it's not just going to be food. Like there will be a whole bunch of different chefs and people going through there, but there's going to be a whole bunch of artists selling their wares. You know, they're going to have karaoke. There's going to be stuff in the little park area there. So it sounds like they're going to just be a whole bunch of things to do. Like if you want to take your family somewhere this weekend at the Fernwood Community Center, I would say to go check out this market. And it is strawberry themed, so it's going to be. I love strawberries, so
I have noticed.
I'm down.
I have noticed that a lot of strawberries are starting to show up just from our local growers, and it's great to see and great to eat as well.
Yeah, 100%. And then yesterday, so now we're going to talk about a place that opened. La Croissant Show opened up yesterday on Broad Street downtown between Johnson and Yates. And this is a spot where you're going to be able to go and get like French croissants, French pastries. They got coffee. They're going to offer baking classes. So just a new spot to check out if you like that flaky, just croissant style stuff, where it's just it just gives you that satisfaction that nothing else can quite itch. I think they just opened up downtown yesterday.
It's the butter.
Yeah, the butter is very important. Yes,
in a croissant. Oui.
I've learned that makes a huge difference what butter you use.
Have you seen them made? Have you seen croissant made?
I haven't seen that. No, what is that?
Pounds of butter.
Just
pounds of butter.
Okay.
That's why they taste so good. So
it's usually the secret, eh? Why is this so good? It's butter.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, you can go deep on butter though. It's not just like
you can
use a lot of butter, but then where are you getting it from? And like I know like at Goodside, like the butter they use is very special, and that's one of the reasons like why Goodside is so awesome. Is they get this special butter, and that's like, yeah, it's like almost an unfair advantage if you can get that stuff, because the flakiness and just everything about what you're producing, it sort of elevates on a different level, I guess.
And shout out to them, by the way. They're kind of up in the Jubilee neighborhood of Victoria, right?
Yeah, 100% too. And if somebody's by the World Jubilee, there's a reason there's a lineup outside of their place every single day that they're open. Goodside Pastry House, just absolutely phenomenal. Get the cowboy twist if you go in and you want something savory. Cowboy twist, I would say.
It's the Vic Food Guys. There's Dallas. We're right at a time. Lots of things to eat this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. In Dallas, we'll talk again next week.
Yeah, thank you. Talk to you then.
And we're right at a time for today. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. If you got good plans, or even if you don't, I hope it's great for you. I'll talk to you again on Monday. Lisa's got your 9 o'clock news next. And thank you to Morgana Adby for producing today's show.
CFAX Victoria,
an iHeart radio station. If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning. I'm Lisa Best with your CFAX 1070 news to 9 o'clock. Stats Canada says economic growth stalled in the first quarter in this country, leading to a second consecutive decline in real gross domestic product. Craig Lord reports the decline was so small that Stats Canada described growth as flat on a quarter-to-quarter basis.
Now, it was such a marginal decrease that on a quarter-to-quarter basis, StatCan even just called it flat. There was no growth. But when you magnify these figures, stretch them out into annualized rates, which is what economists, what the Bank of Canada tends to pay the most attention to, you do see a 0.1% decline in real GDP.
BMO Chief Economist Doug Porter said in a note to clients that there was no sense of sugarcoating this sour result, as the economy has clearly been struggling to grow since the start of the trade war. Island Health issuing a toxic drug warning for the area around Nanaimo. Drug poisoning overdose advisories are issued when there's a spike in serious cases in a certain area. In this case, it would be in the Harbor City. Saanich police spent part of Wednesday night on the golf course, not because they were playing through, but a suspect was in a stolen vehicle. The incident began on a report of a stolen vehicle from a home in the 600 block of Jolly Place. Police found the car parked in the lot at Cedar Hill Rec Center. While attempting to stop it, the driver instead drove onto the golf course, hitting a pair of police cars in the process. That set the stolen vehicle on fire. Police opted to contain the golf course area, observing the fire from the fairway. Saanich fire crews brought in to douse the flames. A canine team located the suspect in the nearby bushes. The driver remains in custody pending a court appearance. Health Minister Marjorie Michel is defending the decision to restrict travel from 3 African countries after the World Health Organization said it recommended against measures. Michel says people are scared from the COVID pandemic, and the FIFA World Cup justifies these travel restrictions.
Is it perfect? Certainly not. But we are taking the measures with the tools we have because we know we need to protect the population. And we need to give people, even Congolese people or Canadian people, the comfort that we are doing all we can to contain this virus if ever it has to cross the border.
Officials also announced a mandatory self-isolation period of 21 days for anyone who's traveled to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, and South Sudan. The measure will take effect tomorrow under the Quarantine Act, and it will continue until August 29th. Bryan Adams set to kick off the summer of 26 for the World Cup. The Cuts Like a Knife singer will headline what's being called the Countdown concert in Toronto to launch the tournament along Haitian hitmaker Wyclef Jean and Canadian-Moroccan artist Nora Fatia. Described by FIFA as first of its kind live multi-city concert, the show will be synchronized with events in fellow host nations Mexico and the U.S., with details of other concerts to be announced soon enough. And BC likes to party. Embrace summer, and we lead the country with it. New data from Fig Financial, an online loan provider, shows that 26% of BC residents socialize 2 to 3 times a week in the summer, a rate significantly higher than other provinces. And we keep the pace year-round. 43% of us socialize at least once a week during the winter months. Breaking it down between the genders, 63% of women socialize at least once a week in summer versus 57% of men. On your markets for this final trading day of the week, the TSX is currently, as the numbers refresh, 96 points up in the green at 34,616, and the Canadian dollar holding at 72.50 cents U.S. Today's CFAX 1070 news poll. Do you agree with the Supreme Court of Canada decision to uphold a ruling that Aboriginal title cannot be declared over private land? You can vote now at CFAX1070.com or in the iHeartRadio app. Your forecast, still a chance of showers this morning, but clear this afternoon. Winds west 60 and a high 17.
Hey, it's Adam Sterling. I'm live at 11 a.m. diving into the issues that matter most here in the Capital Region. Right after Vashi Capellos, don't miss it on CFAX 1070 and the all-new iHeartRadio app.
Welcome to Free for All Fridays on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Hello, friends. Amanda Galbraith here with you one last time for Free for All Friday as we take her off into the sun. Thank you so much for joining me again. We are going to do a special show, a best of show to send us off into, the horizon. For those who weren't listening last week, I will be... Free for All. I've been on Free for All Friday we've been doing for over 7 years. I actually can't remember how long I've been doing this show nationally, but it's been such a pleasure for me to be doing it. I love radio. I love being with you. And since I've told you that this would be my last show, I've been getting all these emails from listeners, in particular women, who've said how much the show has meant something to them. And I just... it's meant so much to me. I haven't been able to answer all of you yet, but I will be doing every single one I'm going to reply to. But please know that it has really moved me to hear that the stuff we try to do on the show, be it highlighting the needs of women entrepreneurs, how hard it sometimes is to be a mom and be ambitious and balance things in life, to talk about the importance of supporting small business in this country, and of course to talk about politics and all the great things that politics brings, including the messy stuff behind the scenes. Will continue. As I noted last week, next week you're going to have Graham Murchison in this slot with his new show, and it is going to be awesome. He's going to be coming on with me at 1:50 today just to talk a little bit about that, so do stay tuned. I, of course, am not totally going away. I'm going to be guest hosting when I can. I'm going to be on News Talk 1010 as a regular contributor as always. I'm on John Moore's show every week. And I will, of course, be running my business and on all the Twitter machines and other places. But we have a bang-up show for you today, and I'm going to get into all of that. But one of the things we are going to talk about, of course, is the news. We do get into the news on this show. And a comment that the Prime Minister made is making lots of raised eyebrows, lots of, I think, questions around, is this a pivot in strategy for him with Canada, the U.S.? This is what the Prime Minister had to say when he was in New York City yesterday.
A stronger Canada is a better ally. And we know that while Canada and the United States have had our differences over the centuries, we have always worked and eventually worked through them because we share values and our common interests run deep. Let's be absolutely clear. Canada Strong will help make America great again.
So that last sentence, Canada Strong will help make America great again, is what is making noise. It's what's raising eyebrows, because it certainly isn't elbows up. But is it the right political play? Well, you know who thinks so? The U.S. Ambassador, Pete Hoekstra. He has heaped praise on it, saying, PM Carney said something worth repeating today. A strong Canada will help make America great again. I think a lot of Americans can get behind that kind of message. And we know that Ambassador Hoekstra is such a beloved figure in this country that I'm sure that is exactly what. That being so, we're going to talk to the panel about that. I'm actually going to have Scott Reid has said he's not quite sure about how good of a strategy this is for the Prime Minister. So we're going to have him on with Marika Walsh a little later on in the show in the 1 o'clock hour. And for those regular listeners, rather than have one big panel, I'm actually having what I'm calling my superpower panel, where for every segment we are going to be having two different favorites on this show, and I'm going to take you through who all those people are. So coming up, just so you know, it's a big show packed with guests. Postmedia's Brian Lilly is going to be joining me at 12:20 with the Toronto Star Bureau, Queen's Park Bureau Chief Rob Benzie, who's actually in studio with me right now. So if I start to cry because I'm sad for leaving, Rob's going to take over the show. You can hear him laughing in the background. We're going to talk about that comment, also talk about Premier Ford and sort of the political futures at Queen's Park. At 1:05, Larissa Waller and Melanie Parody are going to come on with me. We're all small business owners. We're all women small business owners. Why do we start our business? There's a new study come out that said there's a rise of female business owners and why that is happening in the country and what we can do more to make that happen. The Globe and Mail, as I mentioned, Marika Walsh is going to be joined with Scott Reid at 1:20 to talk about their political predictions. And then I'm going to have the kickers, sort of the fun segment at 1:35 with former Toronto Mayor John Tory and Bell contributor and Syria Grell, who's been on the show as well. One interview I do want you to stay tuned for on this show is Minister Carolyn Mulroney actually did an exclusive interview with me yesterday, mostly because I called a favor. But I wanted to talk to her. She announced earlier this week that she's not running again. And she's someone I worked with before on her leadership campaign. She's someone I've admired, is a bit of a, I don't know if she'd want me to call her a mentor, but certainly a professional, a skilled politician, a incredibly good person who's got big ambitions and has managed to be a great mom and also, I think, a good political leader. And we talked, at length about what that meant for her. Here's a little bit of that interview.
And it's hard, but I think that women like myself, like you, people who've been around politics, who are leaning into their careers and trying to achieve great things, need to be honest about what works and what doesn't work. Like we just talked about balance. We need to ask for help. We need to be honest when things aren't working, and we need to step back, just kind of like I am doing this week. It wasn't working. It's just time for a shift.
So not that I'm remotely comparing myself to Minister Mulroney and her shift, but as we both look at two big career shifts, I hang up this show and kind of pivot to new things with my business. We talked through what that shift meant for her, what she's going to do next. And how she felt her 8-year career in politics was. So stay tuned for that at 12:35, where I talk in depth with Minister Mulroney about her experience. At 12:50, I'm also going to be talking to Farah Nasser, who is a public speaker, former journalist, and she went public last week with her story of cancer diagnosis. And I know that sounds like a bit of a downer because I try and make the show happy and light. That's one of the things. The ethos of this show is a no BS look behind the scenes, but we bring some joy. But she took that, one, and turned it into a positive because A, she went and self-advocated to get an early mammogram. 2, she got diagnosed with stage 0 cancer, which I didn't even know was a thing. She's had that operation and she went public with it. And since then, there's been a wave of women who have gone and got tested, including some who have, yes, discovered they have early stage cancer, but others who are just doing that, including myself, by the way. She inspired me to go get my mammogram done this week. Was it weird? Yeah, it was. It was a really weird experience. I was scared to do it, I'll say, because I heard it hurt. It doesn't hurt. I thought it would be hard to get. It's not hard to get. You can actually just go online and get it from your doctor. So one of the things I want to do with my last show is I want to inspire you all to take women out there. I want you to take better care of yourself. You can go sign up online. If you're in Toronto, you can go to Sunnybrook. You can sign up in less than 5 minutes. I was in and out in less than a half an hour. So we're going to talk to Farah about her personal story, what that was like for her. And here's a little bit of what she said when she got her first ever mammogram.
So I really did not expect a call from my doctor to say that you have breast cancer because I had no symptoms. I had no family history. There was nothing to indicate in my body like that I had. I was just walking around with it. I don't even know how long I've had it. And so I don't know why in my head I thought I was immune to cancer. I think I had just thought that. And the truth is nobody's immune, right? Like 40% of Canadians will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. Like it's not something that, even if you have no family history, that's a myth, right? Anybody could get it.
Anybody could get it. So I have a couple goals for the show today as we go on for the next 2 hours. One is to have a lot of fun with all of our guests. 2 is to keep advocating for the things that I care a lot about and I think don't get talked about enough on air and in this country. One is that I think women, mothers need a bigger space in the world. We need to be more forgiving of ourselves and acknowledge when things are hard that we can be big and ambitious. And I heard that from all of you this week when you emailed me. 2 is I want you to all get tested and advocate for yourself medically. So if I have one more woman that gets a mammogram this week out of the show, I'll think I've done my job. And also kind of demystify a little bit of that. It's not as hard or as scary or as funny as you think. And I want to have some big political conversations about what's going on in the world. The legislatures broadly across the country, they're going to be hanging up their hats. The MPs are going home. Where do we think the country's at? Prime Minister Carney, of course, making big waves in the U.S. as he speaks about maybe this new approach from the government as we roll into our CUSMA targets. July 1st is the deadline. I don't think anybody thinks we're going to make it, but perhaps Marika and Scott have some other insights to that. So we are going to do all of that on this show and more. Joining me, as I mentioned after the break, is Rob Benzie, who's in studio with me right now very patiently and very kindly, waiting to do that with Brian Lilly, who is a post-media columnist. And we are going to be talking about, of course, the Prime Minister's comments and what I think you can expect out of, particularly Queen's Park, because I do want to take a look at what's been going on with the provincial government here in Ontario. Premier Ford has been in office now for almost 9 years. We saw a little bit of dip in polls around the gravy plane, as it has been called, which he probably hates to hear. And the Prime Minister, by the way, just making some waves around his plane travels, although that food didn't look very good, but we can talk about that. So all of that is coming your way at 12:20. It's going to be an awesome show, so please grab a glass of something, sit back, enjoy. I might be doing that, maybe not, and we will see you through the next hour. All that and more on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
From CFAX 1070.
Here's what's happening around the island. Join Capital Bike for Spring Go By Bike Week, May 30th to June 5th. Register and find celebration stations at gobybikebc.ca. Sign up for the Walk for Alzheimer's Sunday, May 31st at Fisherman's Wharf. More info at walkforalzheimers.ca. Get more event info at CFAX1070.com.
If it's happening, it's here.
CFAX 1070.
to Free for All Fridays on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Welcome back, friends. Amanda Galbraith here with you for our last show ever. And we are beginning our series of super panels. In studio with me, we've been kibitzing behind the scenes on all kinds of things we can't actually say on air. Is Rob Benzie, Queen's Park Bureau Chief for the Toronto Star, and Brian Lilly, columnist for the Toronto Sun and Post Media. Thank you both for coming in studio.
We couldn't miss this, Amanda.
No, you got to come by and see your friends on a day like this.
Exactly.
Well, I was so pumped when Brian said you guys would come in together. And anyway, it's lots of fun.
Brian lit a fire under me to get down here.
And you brought your tiny...
I rode my tiny little Brompton English folding bike like the Ponce downtown Toronto elite that I am, Amanda.
Do you have a Porsche to put it in the back of, like Jagmeet Singh?
Exactly.
It's issued to all Toronto Star bureau chiefs.
They actually check to make sure we're actually using them.
All right, getting to brass tacks and politics. So the Prime Minister has, I think, raised some eyebrows or caused some interest in these comments that he made yesterday in New York City. I want to play the clip here.
A stronger Canada is a better ally. And we know that while Canada and the United States have had our differences over the centuries, we have always worked and eventually worked through them because we share values and our common interests run deep. Let's be absolutely clear. Canada Strong will help make America great again.
Make America great again. I'm shocked those words came out of his mouth. It's probably a good message to be delivering to Americans, though, but it completely flies against everything else he's been saying. The rupture. Jameson Greer was doing a fireside chat the other day with Barack Obama's U.S. Trade Representative, Michael Froman. And Froman has been listening to Carney because he asked Greer about the rupture, which is what Carney's been talking about. Now he's saying we're going to have a fortress North America.
Yeah, it's
the Am-Can Fortress, isn't that what Doug Ford calls it?
Can, whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, I heard it and my eyebrows went up because, again, I think if we could bifurcate and deliver that message just to a U.S. audience, and we saw the most beloved figure in Canada, U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra, praise it, which always means it's a message success domestically, say this was a good thing and we should repeat it, but it to me, and perhaps that's where they are in negotiations. We don't get a lot of transparency from the government and where they're at. Fair enough. But I don't know how he sells that domestically, but do you think maybe he's got so much political credibility, Rob, that we'll just say, you know what, if the Prime Minister's got to do it, if he's got to say MAGA, he's okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's credibility or if it's good fortune. Mr. Carney is blessed right now, like some kind of political unicorn. He has managed to rid himself of a lot of Trudeau baggage, Stephen Guilbeault being among that this week, and it still has not hurt him in public opinion polls. It might, though, at some point. I mean, at some point, progressive liberals are going to say, well, wait a minute, we're liberals. We like, hugging trees and all these kinds of things. We're not about, pipelines and deals with Alberta. So I don't know. I think he's very fortunate we're watching Pierre Poilievre right now on screen taking questions in Ottawa. Mr. Carney is blessed with a good fortune and Pierre Poilievre as the leader of the opposition.
Poilievre's message isn't resonating, and Carney can apparently do no wrong. We used to call them, remember, we called them Truanon after Jake Tapper gave us that great name. Trudeau guys who, it didn't matter what Trudeau said. Eventually that wore off. But right now, Carney's people are kind of like that. He can do a complete flip-flop, and he will get zero pushback because the man is so great. They love him. And so as long as he's in that honeymoon period, he can say MAGA, I think.
So I want to ask you both this because we are going to July 1 is the fictitious, the real Kuzma, but we're not going to make it. You kind of mentioned this, Rob, that he's a political unicorn of sorts. I think we've seen elements of that Teflonness in Premier Ford, except for recently, right? Over the last, better part of 8 years. And part of it, he's benefited from a lack of, I think, a strong opposition, et cetera. Not that I'm drawing parallels to the gentleman on screen in studio as we speak. But when do you think, if you could do a crystal ball, when does the other shoe drop? When does he start to become mortal?
Mr. Carney becomes mortal. Well, I'm not sure. First of all, the July 1st Kuzma deadline is not really a deadline in the absolute terms. July 1st will come and go. Canada Day will come and go. Canada will still have a free trade agreement with the United States for another decade or so. It's a check-in period basically, and then after that, we may have to renegotiate. But there's another one 6 years after that. So I think there's a lot of hyperbole about that deadline, and it's not really borne out with. I mean, it's great for us to talk about it, and it's like, are we going to be paying more for American goods on July 2nd? No, we're not.
I wouldn't be shocked to see the Americans give us 6 months' notice that they're pulling out, though. I would not be shocked by that at all. You listen to what Greer's been saying, and they're in the middle of negotiating with the Mexicans. So, or we could end up like we were in 2017, where the U.S. negotiated the whole thing with Mexico, and we just had to say, yeah okay, we'll take it.
Or the U.S. I mean, look, the midterms are going to be pretty tough for Mr. Trump's party, and it doesn't sound like Mr. Trump cares about that. He said the other day he doesn't care about the midterms, and I'm sure that's really bad news for the Senate Republicans and House Republicans who actually do care, and they have to care. There's some seats that are going to be in play in part because of Mr. Trump's policies that have made life more unaffordable for Americans due to tariffs, not the stuff that's within Kuzma. That's why I think getting out of Kuzma is a bad idea for the United States. It's a bad idea it's terrible for us. It's bad for them.
It's horrible for us.
Yeah.
I want to bring some joy to the listeners, and we've talked a lot on this on the air. I've done a lot of commentary on 21st Sussex is falling apart. We can't have nice things as a country. Yeah. You know, the Premier Ford can't even get a plane, even though he needs it professionally to get around. The Prime Minister's plane, malfunctioned, and it's got ashtrays and whatever, can't get Wi-Fi. You were both mentioning that Queen's Park, which is the seat of our provincial government, has actually been spruced up. Yep. The speaker there, who, for people who aren't political nerds, the speaker is responsible for the upkeep of the precinct. And for a long time, the Sir John A. statue was in a box. It's not in a box anymore. It has not been defaced. That is, of course, Speaker Donna Skelly. So maybe I will go Brian first, and then you, Rob. Bring our listeners some joy that they're like the seat of government. One of our at least national icons in this country is being. The good stuff's happening.
Well, Rob and I are at Queen's Park all the time because we both have offices there, and I live near there, and so I walk my dog there all the time. And ran into Speaker Skelly walking her dog at the legislature because when it's in session, she has an apartment to stay there. And so she was out walking her dog, and I told her that the place is looking a lot better. In Ottawa, of course, Parliament Hill dominates and people go visit. It's not like that. You can be dropped off by an Uber or a cab driver at Queen's Park and they'll say, what's this building? I encourage people to go and visit. The grounds are looking spectacular with the flowers and all the shrubbery, all of that. It's beautiful. They've got new Muskoka chairs out front for people to sit in. But this is all a result of Speaker Skelly doing a good job, managing things properly. The staff, obviously, are the ones carrying it out, but it's at the direction of the speaker. And I can tell you, back at Christmas, I had family in from out of town, and I took them by, and they were amazed at how beautiful the Christmas decorations were. It was a step up from what we've seen in years past. So kudos to Speaker Skelly.
Yeah,
old journalist.
Yeah.
I don't mean she's old.
She's younger than us. No, she's done a very good job, Amanda. And Brian and I talk about this a lot because, as he mentioned, our offices are actually in the legislature, and you notice. She's made sure that there's better art on the walls. The Ontario government has a vast art collection, and she's made sure that it's on display for the public because she's told us she wants the building to be more welcoming. So she's made history. She broke the last glass ceiling in Ontario politics. She's the first woman to be the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly. It never happened. It happened in Ottawa with Jean Sauvé years and years ago. It took years and years later for it to happen at Queen's Park. And she's made a difference in the legislature. She's clamped down on a lot of the heckling and a lot of the sniping, so the proceedings are moving more smoothly. So she's doing a good job as the referee, and then in the actual building as the steward of the precinct, she's making sure that it's looking better and it's cared for. she even introduced, my colleague Moira Welsh did a great story on this. Honeybees are on, there's 2 beehives on the roof of the building right now, and they're making honey, because honeybees are, of course, very important to the environment, to the flowers, and there's beautiful gardens at Queen's Park. And they're going to be selling that honey at the gift shop in the main foyer. And that's thanks to Speaker Scully, who, as Brian says, has done a really good job, both on her main job as the referee and as the steward.
And this is all available for the public to go see.
It's a great
on a tour or just walking the grounds. So.
So if you're listening and you're thinking of a summer trip and you're going to be in Toronto, go by the legislature. It's your house, not just ours, not just elected people, and it is beautiful. We are at a racetrack. Rob, why am I doing that?
Philo.
Brian, thank you so much for coming on today.
Congratulations on a great run, Amanda.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
If it's happening,
it's here.
CFAX 1070.
Good morning, I'm Lisa Best with your CFAX 1070 news to 9:30. Mark Carney's latest characterization of the Canada-U.S. relationship is getting lots of attention. In his speech before the Economic Club of New York yesterday, he told a crowd of business leaders Canada Strong will help make America great again. CTV's Graham Richardson was there.
Carney's speech was heavy on change in what he described as a new Canada.
That future should include a new partnership with Canada, a true partnership that reimagines cooperation in specific sectors that are deeply challenged by global competition.
A different story from the opposition leader accusing the Liberals and Carney of flip-flopping.
Cannot seem to decide if integration with the U.S. is a strength or a weakness. He's argued passionately for both positions in the last 3 months alone.
Carney never mentioned Donald Trump by name in his speech, and so far the president hasn't issued any public reaction to it. Swedish defense firm Saab says if Ottawa chooses to buy its Gripen E fighter jets, Canada could end up making some of those destined for Ukraine's Air Force. Saab's deputy CEO Andres Karp says that Canada could become a production and export site.
We have, as has been discussed, offered for Canada, for instance, should they choose Gripen, that and they need or want a production in Canada, that could of course be also one site to deliver Gripen to Ukraine.
Canada has already committed to buying 16 F-35 jets, but the Carney government is still reviewing the broader fight program. Your CFAX weather forecast, we've got a mixed bag this morning, but skies are supposed to clear around noon today. Winds west 60 near the Juan de Fuca Strait, a high 17. Clear at first tonight, becoming partly cloudy near midnight with the winds picking up to 60 along the Juan de Fuca Strait tonight, a low of 9. Mixed sun and cloud tomorrow, west winds 40 near the Strait, high 17. Sunshine on Sunday, 19. And with the first day of June on Monday, mix of sun and cloud, high 21.
now more of Free for All Fridays on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Welcome back to the show. Amanda Galbraith here on the very last Free for All Friday. And when I was prepping the show, as you guys know, I had a list of folks that I wanted to have on. And our next guest is at the very top of my list. She's someone I've had the pleasure of working with before in politics. She had some big news earlier this week as well for her own political career. So joining me now, Ontario Minister of, well, I should say President of the Treasury Board, Minister of Francophone Affairs, Caroline Mulroney. Minister Caroline, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure to be on your show, Amanda. How are you?
I'm good. You know, like a few